4 years.
All right. What's going on, chat? Hope everyone's doing well. Appreciate everyone tuning in. All right. Whew. Oh, I gotta change some things over. It's better. All right. What's going on, chat? It is hot as hell. I had to wait till it cooled down a little bit because, boy, oh boy. Whew, is it steaming? I'm gonna go get a new AC. My old AC unit I've had for a while is finally on its last leg, so I've been sweating it. But yeah, so I was waiting until it cooled down a little bit because it was quite hot today. So holy cow! But what do you call it? I ended up putting my new head back on the vise. And first off, hello chat, how's it going? The place is a mess behind me, as it usually is, but it's not going to be like that any soon. I actually got, let me see if I can show you guys. You can see my crappy AC unit, but I got some, it's kind of hard to see, but I got some storage. So to replace those plastic things that I've been using for years. So I was doing some organization before the stream. I'm about like halfway through organizing my fly time materials. But, and then I'm going to take these plastic bins and bring them downstairs or something, use them for like my miniature terrain or maybe up here, who knows. But, I got a, let's see if I can show you. I got some studio monitor platforms just to make it a little bit more tidy. You can see all of my sound editing. It's not even sound editing. It's just to stop my voice from echoing off the walls. And then we got the what do you call it? I just got this, so I can actually use my keyboard for both computers, because this is one computer and this is another computer here. But I got this R mount, so I can kind of move my monitors around. So I freed up a ton of space on the desk, and then you can see my music stuff over there. This is the mixer I use, been using for years. But so I'm organizing some stuff and moving some stuff around. This table that we use for Mike Rolls dice is going to actually get set up so it's hinged on the wall, so it's going to flip up to the wall, and then I'll be able to stand and do whatever. So it's going to be perfect for setting a green screen up for playing some guitar on Saturday nights. And the other thing is I'm getting a cabinet to put all my minis in. But the main thing is, you can see I got on my bed right now all my fly tying material. I'm like putting it in bags and Ziploc bags, because I have a lot of like loose material that I just kind of chucked in over the years. So I got my flashes. How did I do it? There's sorry, it's like so hot in here, especially with the lights. I got my synthetics up top, and I kind of mixed it up so it's different now. Feathers, then flash, then I did body material, and below that's going to be natural hairs, and below that I don't know. I'm gonna see though, I still have to keep I have one really big plastic thing behind me. You can't see. This thing here has all my feathers, like saddle patches, and then all my bucktail is in there as well. So I got to figure out what I'm going to do. I'm probably going to end up throwing away a bunch of the bucktails, because they're like, I always end up holding on to bucktails where there's bare anything on there. I might end up needing like, I don't think I can fit everything in these storage options. So I think I'm going to have to probably keep the big plastic thing and then keep my feathers in it and bucktail. And I have all the materials from saltwaterflies.com over the years that he sent me as well, that I keep in there, separated from all my stuff. But I'll get rid of these 2 plastic bins at least. And then the table here will get flipped up. All the miniatures that are sitting on, I have tons of miniatures and everything for the war games that we play and record. All that's going to go inside a glass cabinet, so that way it won't get dusty. So the good thing is, hopefully this desk is going to get flipped up against the wall, and then we could flip it down and use it when we need, or this table. And then all the fly tying stuff on my right is going to be neatly organized. The problem is keeping it neatly organized. That's the hard part. So it helps. What I've learned is when I do a fly tying stream, to put the materials back before the next fly. I'll tell you that much. So let's see, fly tying wise, I haven't been doing much the past couple days. I ended up getting done with all of the rooster fish flies, so I've just been catching up on getting some stuff done around here, and finally taking a little bit of that money and putting it into making my room a little bit more organized and looking a little bit better on stream and in videos as well. That being said though, I'm working on Mike Rolls Dice battle reports, and I'm working on fly tying videos. So there's a couple flies I want to do now that I have now we're back to our regular schedule. I'm going to try and do 2 uploads on Mike Rolls Dice a week. On Li Flies Mike. So I'm thinking we'll do like a fly tying video, and then I'm going to try and do some sort of topic video. Worst case, it'll be like every 2 weeks on a topic video, but people really seem to enjoy the fly fishing for striped bass series or all the videos on like synthetic materials, vice versa. So I'd like to do a video on natural materials or natural hair, then a video on feathers, a video on body materials or body stuff you can use like crab bodies, popper heads, and just explain all that stuff in depth, as well as a ton of fishing stuff. I was looking through some of my books recently. There's some great, I was like, just how the chapters are laid out. I was like, this is a great way for me to go about making, like a series of videos on like how to fish beaches, how to do this, how to do that. So, I'm not sure you could talk about it, but finding time to fly fish. Oh, what's that? Like a video? A video on finding time to fly fish? Well, now I have all the time in the world. I'm going to be going. But yeah, so to be honest with you, I got super like unmotivated fishing wise after I went for like 2-3 weeks straight, like probably 4 or 5 times a week fishing around here, and I just didn't catch anything. Now, if I traveled a little bit further, which I couldn't really because I was busy working all day, I would just run down by the house and go fish or go somewhere close. But if I went down to the ocean and went down to the bay, closer to the inlet, that's where like the real fishing's happening right now. And apparently it's pretty good. It's like fish 30 inches and up, you know what I mean? The problem is not a lot of smaller fish, and that's what I think I usually catch in the back bays around here where I live. But it's, what do you call it? I'm ready to go fishing now, so I'm gonna have to get back into the mindset, and I gotta get like some motivation, because I kind of lost my motivation after just not catching anything for like a whole month. When are the bluefish around? The bluefish were around, they just didn't apparently show up super strong this year. So I talked to Jeff, and he said they're there, but they're not like in the crazy numbers that we usually got them. So I don't know, maybe it's changed since then, but I was just busy working. So now I got time. We're gonna start going out, because not only do I want to fish, but it'll be a good excuse to get out like a couple times a week, do some fishing until I get motivated again naturally from fishing, but the desire to go, but to make some videos. So I want to make some videos on different one of the first videos I gotta do is like stripping techniques. I already recorded some different videos at different times. Like last year I recorded some stuff while I was out, but I got to do some stuff on it. So, and hopefully I start catching some fish, and then I get some motivation to start going fishing all the time. In the meanwhile, I'm catching up on YouTube stuff. So same thing happened last year. We ended up getting dogpiled with all these fly orders at once to tie all this rooster fish stuff. And I'm going to try and make sure it doesn't happen next year. So it's kind of hard though. Like I have to end up putting so much money in materials and stuff. If I just do that preemptively, God forbid these guys don't end up going, then I'm like screwed, And the other thing is, this year, whatever I tied for them didn't work at the start. So we had to do an emergency thing where we tied a bunch of ballyhoo flies. So it's kind of tough to be able to do, plan ahead of time what I need to tie for a trip that may, change last moment. So let's turn the music down a little too. Let's actually go here, and what we're gonna do tonight is just relax and tie some flies. Not doing any commercial crap, not gluing ballyhoos. I gotta get my fly box filled up, and I want to start thinking of some flies to make some videos on. So that's kind of what we're doing tonight. All right, I got some mono thread on. I'm gonna switch. I usually like tying with my flat wax nylon, so I'm gonna switch to that. Also, what's going on, old smuggler? How's it going, dude? And Craggle, I forgot to mention it, dude, but the 4 years. Thank you so much, man. It's been so long. Appreciate it, brother. And Doc, how's it going, Doc? It's the first time I've caught like 3 or 4 dog ticks on me. The pretty big dog ticks, just like walking like on my feet or something, because I'm wearing shorts this time of year with flip-flops outside. So I'm, in my backyard, so I can like easily kind of see if a tick gets on me. Today I saw it got all the way up on my knee, but it was like either a juvenile deer tick or like, because it was smaller than a normal sized deer tick. It was pretty darn small. But so now there's some I don't know, either deer ticks or maybe the ticks just spawned or something. I have no idea. There was a hatch or something. But you got to keep your eye open. The ticks are really bad in Long Island this year. They're really bad. I don't go in the woods during the summer. But if you did, it would be, especially the Pine Barrens. It's like tick heaven over there. But you got to keep an eye out. It's looking like it's pretty bad all over the place, so. Usually depends on how mild the winter is and how wet it is, I think, too. Yo, what's going on, Jim? How's it going from North Carolina? I like your introduction every time. All right. Let's see what we got here. Let's use some 2 odds. I also got these jig hooks as well. We could play around with those. And now we finally got some time too. I'd like to get in touch with some different folks and maybe make some videos. Like Henry Cowan's one of them. I would love to do a little interview or something with Henry. I saw he was doing the Masters of the Fly. Pretty much like almost co-hosting with the 2 hosts. It seems like almost with every episode. So he seems to enjoy doing that sort of stuff. But Henry's an awesome guy. Him and Zeke, Zeke from our channel here, who I go fishing with, they're going down bone fishing right now. I think they just left yesterday or something. So Zeke said when he gets back, we're going to go on the boat. So, because I've been busy rooster fish time. But they're heading down there bone fishing right now. So hopefully Henry and Zeke end up slamming some fish. Henry's got the bonefish scampi, which is, we tied a bunch of those for my friend who was heading down to the Bahamas for like 2 years to live on a boat or something. I think he ended up catching some too. Now, oh dude, what did I do with my scissors? That's the question. Because I was opening boxes, so give me a second, chat. I was doing all sorts of crap over here. Don't tell me they're downstairs. Over here? Oh, there. Okay, thank God. I was like, dude, don't tell me these scissors are... These scissors might... God knows where they are at this point. Okay, we're good. We can relax. All right, I don't even know what I'm going to tie here. I'm just putting thread on the hook. I literally have no thought on what I'm doing, but that's kind of the fun. So let's see. I'm gonna start doing some fishing and traveling to some of the spots I like fishing by the bay. It seems like it's going to be a lot of nighttime fishing soon because it's really starting to heat up. And I only have a pair of plastic waders and a pair of neoprenes. I don't have breathables at the moment. So I'd probably rather fish when it's sunset or early morning or at nighttime. And I got my switch rod with a floating line at the moment. I have an 11 weight with a sink tip, but I don't even have an 8 or 9 weight or a 10 weight with an intermediate at the moment, like a regular 9-foot rod. So it's going to be something that I'm not going to be fishing. I mean, it's fairly shallow anyway. It's like 5, 6, 8 feet at most where I'm going to be fishing this thing probably. And the current's moving, so I kind of want something flatwing related or something with movement in it, material wise. Can you tie one of your shrimp? Yeah, Tony, we could do a shrimp here as well. We'll do a shrimp tonight. Then we could always fish on a teaser. All right, well, I've kind of made up my mind. Let's do something flatwing related. Because then you could fish a teaser shrimp above the flatwing. So I ended up getting one of these for the rooster fish, but I figured we could always use some good flatwing hackle. I also have hackle in front of me, a giant pile of hackle. So something I want to mention real quick, I have a ton of these. I got more gray over white kinky mother tail, so I'm going to finish these. I also have some blue over white that are completely done. These are going to be going up on English Marketplace when they're done, these kinky mothers. So we'll finally end up getting some flies on the internet for you guys if you want to buy some flies for yourselves, support the channel. So it took a little while. Let me grab a bucktail because it's not set up. it's gonna suck. This is better. Oh man. It's a little bit clumsy tonight because half of my material is in the new storage and half of it's not, so. Some electric blue. Chartreuse color with electric blue. We could do something like that. I don't know if I have exactly electric blue. When you say electric blue, what do you mean by that? Like a strawn blue color? Are you talking about Flash? Like the electric chicken? Yo, Neves, what's going on? Neves, did you send me a shipping address yet? And if so, remind me where you did. Because you won some flies, I gotta get them out to you. I got everyone else out, but I saw the poster. I was like, oh, Neves was on YouTube. I forgot. But I don't know if you ever sent me a shipping address. And if you did, tell me where and I'll check. Instagram? Okay. What's your username on there, if you don't mind me? Or you can always just message me again one more time. Check, mic check, say, or something. So it goes to the top. I have tons of people that freaking DM me all the time, which is great, because they're like, hey, I want this, that, or about flies, you know, and asking questions about fly rods. My DMs on Instagram are a freaking mess. You prefer the wax nylon over the mono? I do, because it's not as easy to break for me personally. It does build up a little bit quicker than mono, but it also, the best way I can describe it, because it's wax too, the thread cinches down into itself when I tighten it. So, gotcha. Okay, thank you. Gotcha. I got everyone else, and then I remembered. I was like, we did a YouTube giveaway. I completely forgot. The Southern Fly Guy, we had issues with his fly, so I had to resend his. But I just used the regular. I did the bubble mailer just to not have any issues. 5 days on right shoulder replacement. I plan to take 5-weight to first rehab. They got an agenda, and so do I. Be like, look, this is the most important motion I will ever make. All right, we need to ensure that I have full mobility in this range. Okay. Well, I wish you a speedy recovery, sir. And get back to doing some fly casting. You can always overline. Just overline from now on. Give yourself a little bit extra weight on there, and you don't have to, you know. You can just pick it up, give it a 1-2, and send it. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I really like having heavier lines a lot of times, is the fact that I don't have to work as hard, because if I end up fishing for 3-4 hours, then it's not like my shoulders or anything, it's my back, because I have a kind of jacked up back. So whatever I can do to make it a little bit easier on myself, and overlining it just a little, just by one, or even just finding a heavier line in your same weight can be nice. That's why I hate lines that don't have any balls to them, you know? Give me a line that has some heft to it, because it's going to load so many rods nowadays are fast action, ultra fast action, just in how like the materials are, especially compared to the older graphite rods or whatever, or the old school stuff, the glass style stuff. So it's probably better for dubbing. It's not like super waxed in that regard. Like, it doesn't feel, your fingers don't feel waxy when you're done. It's just, the best way I can describe it, the thread doesn't fray as much. It'll fray still if you rub up on the edge of the hook eye. But if you use like a normal thread, my hands actually end up getting a little bit like almost raw after a while, because if I'm tying for 10 to 12 hours, like I was recently for like 2-3 weeks straight, I was using the unwaxed version of this thread, and it was like, just felt like almost uncomfortable having this feeling like against my hand for hours and hours and hours. So this is also another reason. It's just more comfortable for me to tie, what do you call it? Like, commercially with this stuff. And also, I'm not even joking, you could take this fly, not tie it with glue, like super glue or head cement, I think this is the more durable thread because of the wax, and because I pull so tight, it like literally digs into the previous thread wraps and like goes in itself, and the wax kind of seals it. I don't know. It's the best way I can describe it. That's just that's what I'm saying. That's not like scientific. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's what I think's going on. So look, got some organization. Let's go. I got some flashes. I still need to get some more Ziplocs, but I got some crystal flashes here. It's nice when it's like this. So let's keep it like that, shall we? My neighbor's dog's having a great time, sounds like. Better for gripping the materials too? Hell yeah. For sure. Alright, we're gonna take some... Let me know if the dog's too loud, though. My neighbor's dog, I'll throw the noise suppression on. Also, let me... make sure the music's not too loud. It's just for the background. We're ditching Epidemic Sound soon. I'm gonna finally have time to work on some backing tracks, because it's about like $19 a month, almost like $20 a month. I've been paying for this stuff for a while, and we only use it on Friday nights on Li Fly's mic and on my Instagram. Otherwise, I use YouTube music and stuff. So I'm just gonna have to make some like original, because it's just for the background. It's not like it's the star of the show, you know. All right. I'm gonna take some flat wing hat. Let's get some blue. You said electric blue, huh? Oh, chartreuse as well. You know what? I don't think I have any chartreuse like saddle wing hackle, but I do have this like Kelly greenish Ewing patch that I got for like $10, $15 on Lure Parts Online. We could probably find something to use here. We can have a little bit of a thicker hackle in the middle. Still see if I can find something somewhat thin. I guess it, you know, we're tying on a 2-aught. It doesn't need to be crazy long. That chartreuse. I mean, that looks close enough to me. Can you talk about shooting heads with sink tips for big flies in windy conditions? Yeah, so let's see. What do you mean by, you're just talking about the shooting heads that are built into lines? Well, there was a line I used to use for years, the Streamer Express by Scientific Anglers. That was like my all-time favorite. It had a 30-foot lawn, or something close to it, either 30 or like 20 or 15, something like that. Like super heavy, like the heaviest T11 or whatever they had, or I don't know what it was, sink tip, or just I guess a giant sink shooting head, and it had like like 60 to whatever foot of running line, and I don't even know if it was floating or intermediate, because that line sunk so fast that it would just like shoot down to the bottom. That was the best line I've ever had for a sink tip, or sinking line, like heavy sink line. But recently I've used the Rio Striper one, which I think I'm still using, but I think it's cracked or starting to crack, so I'm going to need to look into something different. I don't even know what the grain is. I think the grain might even only be like 450 or something like that, where I think the Scientific Anglers one that I used to use way back in the day, the Streamer Express one, that one had closer to like, 500 or something, And 450 still works, but like if you're fishing in Block Island and 80 foot of water, like how I was doing with Mark Sadati, like that's almost where you need to make a custom, because they don't really sell fly lines like that. You need to get what do you call it, like a 550 Skagit head, or you need to get like the trolling line or whatever, or the you can order like a spool of the sink tip material or whatever, and you make yourself like essentially just a giant sink head with like a mono running line or a intermediate running line, and you put loops on there or something, or you splice it, and you just make yourself a line, because it's kind of hard. They sell striper lines and stuff, but they're made for like fishing in 15 foot of water or 20. They're not made for fishing in 30, 40, 50 foot of water a lot of times. So it's tough. It's tough doing it. So that's where maybe getting something like a Skagit head or something might be better. Not sure how it's set up. It's a 30 foot, so then you're gonna just need to find a running line, and whether it be, you can order either mono running lines. Those are a little tricky though. Or you can get something like a running line, like a Skagit running line, for instance, which would be, like, if you take a generic running line, it'll probably work, but the Skagit one's probably tapered or set up in a way that it works better with it. But I don't know. You can experiment. I've tried mono running lines because that's what a lot of old school guys used to do. They'd make their own super heavy sink tip heads, and they would fish with a mono running line. And it's the same thing with like salmon and stuff or whatever. They wouldn't like buy running lines. They would make their own heads, and they would use like it's like a mono running line. But I guess they use that in like maybe other types of applications of fishing. I don't know. But I've tried that, and I think I had issues with, maybe it was the one I got. It was like, I had a super hard time with it coiling and things like that. But I know a lot of folks use stuff like that. LC13 sinks fast, add running line. Who makes the, cause what's the T series stuff? Is that Rio? Or is that just a generic term? I didn't know if it goes by company or not. But yeah, you're going about it the right way. I would just go about getting a sink tip now. I mean, a running line. So probably the best place to start is with a Skagit one, and it'll be rated for it. But you can experiment too. You can get like monofilament running lines or just different running lines and see which one works best. I'll say this, especially switch rods. Like, I've bought $100 lines and they cast like crap, and it's like, well, okay, I can't even use it. But then you'll get a line and it's like perfect. So particularly with switch rods and like those line setups, it seems like it's super hit or miss. But if you're fishing, I've never tried and used like a super heavy Skagit head or something that's made for switch or spay fishing and used it with a conventional 9-foot fly rod. So I couldn't tell you necessarily how that works. But I could tell you those super heavy, like the Streamer Express, it was like a big 30-foot head, probably the heaviest thing you can get. And the running line, it was just there so you could, your shooting head didn't fly off the fly rod, you know, or you didn't have to touch backing. That's really all it did. So, again, I couldn't even remember if it floated or was like intermediate. I think I tried it one day and I was like, I can't even, it's like, whatever. It's not consequential, because I could only fish that line when I was fishing in super fast moving water and currents, or fishing in really deep water. You couldn't even fish it from the beach or from the inlet a lot of times. Only on an outgoing tide or incoming tide at high peak tide, because I would literally be getting down 20, 30 feet in the inlet in the deeper area in the middle, and I would be hooking stuff. So I've literally never even hit the bottom with like lightweight spin rods and jigs, you know, like trying to, like as a kid, I was like struggling to hit the bottom. Meanwhile, this fly line's like dredging through the inlet. So it kind of sucks because I didn't have a boat back then and didn't know many people with a boat. But nowadays, I do need to figure out on building or finding a proper super heavy sinking line specifically for fishing the 40, 50, 60, 70, 80 foot, because that's sometimes where the bass are. And really, 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 really big ones. You're not doing this for schoolies, you know. But yeah, it's definitely gonna be trial and error, possibly trying to get that set up. I mean, how are you fishing? Are you fishing with a 9-weight, or are you fishing it with a? I mean, you fishing with a 9-foot rod, or are you fishing it with a switch rod or something? I've had a lot of people ask me too, like, why I'm fishing with a switch rod. It's because I broke all of my normal rods, other than my 11-weight custom rod from Wolfram. So that's why. If I had a normal 9-foot rod, I'd probably be fishing with that the majority of the time. But now I've kind of gotten used to fishing with my switch rod. I do need to figure out a better option for maybe getting another line, like an intermediate switch line or something, because I do miss having an intermediate. You can fish with a sink tip, but it's not the same. Like I fish the majority of my life with an intermediate, and I do prefer it most of the time. 11-foot 10-weight. Okay, So yeah, I mean, you're just gonna need to figure it out. You're just gonna have to get some different running lines. I'm sure there's like some sort of scaling though for what pound test running line to get with what weight head. You know what I mean? I'm sure they have some sort of chart or something on Rio, I think, or wherever you got it from. You. Either way. Okay. I think I should have some body. Okay, first things first, let's put this away. Put our hackle away real quick. We're trying to not make a mess. We're going to put some Bill's body spray down here. I did want to put some blue, though. You asked for electric blue. I'll throw a little gray ghost and then a little blue on top. The TFO Blitz rod is super fast. Yeah, I just remember fishing, you know, in the 90s and stuff. And, like, there were companies that, like, were selling, like, slower action rods and stuff that were still, like, modern made. But they were, like, Orvis had a thing that would tell you, like, how fast the action was on certain rods or whatever. But nowadays, I think it's just kind of, like, there's, like, a generic fly rod action that you find a lot of times in most, you know, either entry level or even higher level rods, and it seems like fly rod action has gotten faster over the years, which makes sense. It also has to do with materials and all that. But people are throwing big flies nowadays and stuff, and technology changes too. But when I tried a bunch of different fly rods in the past, like back in the 90s and stuff, you definitely feel a lot more like slower action rods, or find some from different manufacturers that were even, you know, some of their faster action stuff, quote unquote, was still not super fast because the rod building technology or whatever at the time. Those rods are fast nowadays is all I'm saying. Get yourself a heavy line, not too heavy, heavy enough, and then chuck it 100 feet or 80 feet every cast with a little bit of wind. You shouldn't have an issue. I use Airflow for running. Power Max Head T14 works for me with an 11-foot 10 weight. The TNT Exoset Surf, but I mainly use Outbound Short Intermediate and now Sonar 3D Titan. I might need to check out the Sonar. That's Scientific Anglers, right? Look, I love Rio. I've used Rio for literally like the past 15 years. The problem is their lines crack so bad. The Outbound Shorts don't seem to do that. The striper lines were cracking terribly. And then they changed the line. Now they made them like clear, and they changed the coating. I talked to people. I was like, I'll give them another try, right? And then unfortunately, like, I've had so many lines crack, and I've recommended Rio to so many people, and they've cracked that, yeah, it's like, I can't, I don't know, I might need to try some other lines out. So I think I want to try some Cortland stuff out, because I haven't fished Cortland lines in a while. I had one big game fly line, which was for, like, muskie and pike, and I used that in saltwater for years, and it was fantastic. So I'm going to have to, and it didn't crack. So I'm going to have to try some Cortland stuff out. And I still love Rio, dude, but it's like, the thing is, like, if you guys see in the Albie highlight, there's a kid at the front in the beginning. That's AC Fishing. He's now a grown man that's taller than me, traveling the Bahamas and Caribbean fishing on a tuna boat for a living. But that was his first Albie on the fly on my boat when it still worked. And I told him, yeah, dude, get the Rio striper line. Dude, within like a month or probably less, he had issues, or a couple months, whatever it was. Then so he got another one, and that one cracked like in a week or two out of the box. And I felt so bad because, you know, he's a younger kid, you know, and it was $100 fly line. So, and I've just talked to a lot of people where that's been the case. So I've even talked to the Rio guys at the shows, be like, dude, what's going on with, I love your lines. Like, they're the best casting lines I've ever had. And the style of your line fits my casting so good to where it's like, dude, I'm telling you, you pick up that striper line, and they're heavy too, so you can still use a 9-weight with a 9-weight. They're like just heavy lines. You pick it up, one false cast, and I'm casting 70, 80 feet every time. But it's when you start hearing those clicks of the cracked fly line through your guides, you're like, oh God, here we go again. And you can send them in, get a new one, but then it's like, what are you going to do for a month or two while you got to get a new fly line. Next thing you know, you end up with like 10 cracked reel lines is what's happened to me. So I'm just like, all right, I gotta do something different. Even Jeff's like, oh, maybe you're stripping it out of your reel at the wrong angle and it's rubbing on your reel spool. And I'm like, yo, I've stripped my fly line out of my fly reels for the past, 28 years now or something, in the same way every single time. I don't think that's what it has to do with, but thank you for the thought. He's fishing in his fancy boat with his little thing. I'm fishing on the rocks where it's getting like sucked into the rocks and this and that. And that's the thing though, that's what makes a good fly line. Is it durable? Is it gonna like, rub through on the inlet rocks the first time? Hopefully not, because there have been so many times where my fly line's been like trapped in the inlet rocks and I've had to like try and get down there and it's like barnacles and stuff. And of course things are going to happen, but I haven't done that sort of stuff in years. What I'm saying is like the Scientific Anglers lines I used to use or way back in the day, all that stuff was durable and lasted all the way up until I got out of high school. Since I was a kid, I still have some lines, but those Rios, they're just not durable at all, man. I tried UV flow from Loon sometimes, dude, but this is like the whole line starts cracking. Like it starts with one, but if you don't notice it, it quickly spreads, and then you have just literally rings and rings and rings just going all up and down your line. And a lot of times it's like further back in the line too. But yeah, anyways. So I think Rio lines are some of the best casting lines, but my God, are they terrible for durability. And it sucks. I hate to say that, but we've had so many people have recommended the lines and they've had issues where I just can't, I can't tell you to buy $100 fly line and have it crack at the end of the season. Like, I guess maybe if you guys like work on wall, somewhere for like a some sort of major corporation or something, I'll tell you to do that. But for your average Joe Schmo, can't be doing that. And it sucks, man. They're my favorite line, essentially. They cast... Well, the thing is, I haven't tried a lot of other lines. I could be... I could be brainwashed by only buying Rio for so long. I'm going to have to try some other stuff. I'm not trying to trash them. I just am completely honest with you guys. I have no affiliation... What do you call it? I mean, I'm affiliated with Squimpish Flies. Regal built me this vise for free. And I work with saltwaterflies.com from time to time, even though I haven't done much recently. But I have no, like, obligation to be like, oh, yeah. It's like, no, if there's an issue, I'm just going to tell you guys. Like, if somebody at Rio hates me, then that's cool. But I'm just being honest with you guys, so... I'm sure a lot of you folks maybe have Rio lines that haven't had issues or something, but it was specifically the striper lines, which are the ones that I like. Because I've had some outbound shorts crack, but it's generally like it's a much more reasonable thing, like maybe after many years or something, or whatever. All right, we'll put some chartreuse on top here. Sucks though, they're definitely my favorite line for sure. On the market at the moment, but that being said, I tie flies for a living, so that means if I buy a fly line, I expect that thing to last for like 5 years. Like, how did my old Scientific Anglers Streamer Express line used to fish it on the kayak? It was getting jammed up in between bits on my kayak and stuff. How did that line last like 20 years? Nowadays, like, these $100 lines are like cracking within a year or something. It's ridiculous. You know what I mean? They're great performance, though, I will say. But I'd rather not have a once a year disposable or, fly line or something. If they charge $50, that'd be one thing. But goddamn, man, these fly lines are getting up pricier and pricier. You're starting to see 120, 130 and stuff like that. It's like, phew, it's ridiculous. It's crazy. We're talking that's like the price of a freaking Lefty Cray fly rod, like a 5-weight or something, which is wild. But I will say, if you do have a really good fly line and it does last 10 years or so, I have no problem paying $140 for a fly line, $120. Just make sure it doesn't crack in a year, Then I'm okay with it. Oh, I cannot wait till I have all the material in one place. I got material over there, this, there. I'm finally tonight, I'm going to finish organizing. I'm about halfway through, so it'd be nice though when I'm done. Because I have to move these giant plastic things every time I film a battle report. It's such a pain. And, I just can't live in complete and utter madness. I need some organization in my life. Whoa, Brew! Yo, what's going on, man? Coming in with the 77 months. Also, shout out to Craggerall for the 4 years. But Brew coming in 77. Sheesh. Round of applause. Thank you, my friend. Support means a lot, brother. How's your fishing season going? I got a glimpse every once in a while on your Instagram. Catching some, like, pike or something. Or pickerel or whatever you're doing down there. I look around for sales in the winter. Yeah, that definitely helps. I tie for fly shops, this and that. I get a little discount here and there, so it's not like always the worst thing. But man, it's like I need the discount because I tie flies for a living. I don't make enough money as like a normal person. You know what I mean? Help! My tarpon line was 170. Oof. Jeez, Dennis, that's crazy. What does it come with? Caviar or something too? Yeah, I'm gonna be honest with you. I don't think I could pay $150 for a fly line because I could literally just get I think at that point I will just look for like a cheaper option. You know what? I will say I used to use the Cabela's saltwater floating line, and I used that for years, and it was fantastic. It was their generic saltwater floating line, Cabela's brand, and it was really good. So I might need to try some of those out again. You know what? That would be a great video. This is an expensive-ass video, though. Trying fly lines out. Even cheap ones. But that would be a great video, is maybe trying fly lines under a certain dollar and comparing them and see how they work. Dude, that would be now we're talking. I think I need to wait till we gotta wait till we get some more subscribers, a little bit more ad revenue flowing in. But that's the sort of thing I could definitely do. We could compare cheap fly rods. And then it's a tax write-off, so I finally have a 9-weight again. I mean, a 9-foot fly rod again. Well, look, if you're using it, then God bless you. And especially tarpon fishing. At least you have peace of mind. But luckily, I don't tarpon fish. So I don't need to worry about that. But I'm not going to line shame you. I'll never line shame you, okay? Some of my friends have $1,000 Thomas & Thomas rods that I've seen them break on snappers. And I've broken many rods, my $130 ones, but I will say that their rods do cast a little bit nicer than mine, and they're also lighter. They feel nice. But I probably won't end up buying a Thomas & Thomas ever, unless someone gives me a really good deal on it. And also, I'll probably just break it then, so... Someone gifted me a G Loomis after my complete fly rod and reel flew off of the gunnel of their boat. Mike, who's been in some of my YouTube videos and we went albie fishing with last year, my fly rod went flying. He had a gunnel strap, so it had Velcro straps. He's like, "Put your rod on the gunnel." I'm like, "Are you sure this is safe?" He's like, "Yeah." And my rod goes flying off of his boat, and we're like chasing straight bass, and I look back and I just see backing, and I'm like, what the hell is this? And I guess the backing or the line, maybe the fly got caught or something. I don't know what happened, but we just see backing, and dude, we pulled in backing for, I'm not even joking, probably about 200-300 yards, and then it just came back and it broke off. So my rod's just floating out in the ocean somewhere. My this is the TFO with the TFO fly reel, that Australian fly reel. Unfortunately, the fly reel was kind of broken. It still worked. Everything I have fly fishing wise is all like broken, but it still worked perfectly fine. The drag, like, you couldn't control it, but I would just palm the drag and it still had a little bit of drag in it. So I just was fishing, catching albies with it. But that flew off the boat. So he gave me a replacement, a beautiful single piece G Loomis, 8.5 foot or something, or 9 foot G Loomis. Never had a G Loomis. Such a nice rod. I'm casting, show it to Mark Sadati. He's like, beautiful rod. I only fished it once or twice, because it wasn't even striper season last year. And I casted a big largemouth bass fly, and the rod just snapped while I was casting it. So, yep. I tend to have just really terrible luck with things, especially with expensive things. So I tend to stick to the cheaper stuff, because that stuff lasts me 20 years. Whenever I end up buying a nice Orvis rod, buying a really nice fly reel or something always happens. It's like the universe does not like me to have expensive fly fishing gear, so I just stick to the cheap stuff, and it works because I'm a fly tire, so it's in the budget. I'm a pro at it, a 12 weight $99 Bass Pro Deceiver rod. Hell yeah! You're throwing it on the 12 weight $99 Bass Pro rod. Hell yeah! The Bass Pro Deceiver rod. Hell yeah, dude. Now we're talking. So I will say, buying the fly line almost matters more than the rod. Or I will say the fly rod matters just as much as the fly line. Because, A, you need a rod that has enough stiffness for you to freaking double haul and get a fly out to busting albies at, 80 feet. But the main thing is your line needs to work too. So those are the two most important things. You could cheap out with the reel. The problem is it'll end up rusting. That's the problem with cheap reels in saltwater. They're usually cast. They usually end up rusting really bad. But I mean, all in all, nowadays, what's the price of a? I just had a ton of super glue come pouring out because this is not the thick. And I got in the hook eye too. We got to do an emergency cleanup. What's the average setup for an entry level fly rod? Let's figure it out. I mean, let's see. You're gonna have to get a fly line, right? So, and even a cheaper one's still gonna be $50, $60. But let's say you go to a fly store and you're trying to get a fly rod for the first time, but not like a cheap kit where it all comes in one. You want like a real deal. It's like you go and you're learning to get skateboard. You're not using like a Walmart skateboard. You're like, okay, I'm gonna buy a deck, trucks, bearings, and wheels, right? What's the fly rod looking like nowadays? Let's just think about it. I think it's like 100 and let's just say it's an 8 weight. I think an 8 weight TFO goes for I didn't even get super glue on the threads. That's ridiculous. I think an 8 weight TFO goes for like 160 or 170. And you're going to need a fly line. Now, if you want a fly line, it's going to be at least probably like $80, let's be honest, if not close to 100, but let's just say $80. Which seems reasonable for like a decent fly line. And then you get a cheaper reel, but a decent one. You probably go with a Reddington or like like a Behemoth style, or you go with like a Lamson or something, which is probably going to be at least like a 180 or something like that too. So let's think, what would that come out to be like? Maybe, what do you call it? Let me think. That'd be 260, and then, yeah, I mean, so you're looking at least like 320 or something probably if you piece together a fly rod. Yeah, they have the what do you call it? The kits, but I don't know, how good are those kits? I mean, for like a trout fishing expedition that you take a trip somewhere, I bought in those Reddingtons and they work great. But how are those kits for like actual saltwater fishing? Are they actually decent? Because I feel like you want to just piece together like a Lefty Cray TFO special or whatever. You get yourself like a Lamson and you get yourself like an $80 fly line. Because if that line's not, that's the thing. If you can fish a trout river, that's one thing. But if it's blowing 20 miles an hour and you're fishing the surf, that's where it's like probably spending that extra $60 or whatever, which is probably where most of the money is for the line too, in that Reddington kit that you're missing. Then it probably pays the difference. But still, I mean, that's pretty pricey, right? Does anyone get those Reddington kits for saltwater? I haven't ever gotten a kit fly rod for saltwater. The only one I got was like a Walmart one when my first ever fly rod, and we ordered it from from a local tackle shop. They got us like a Shakespeare fly rod combo for saltwater. It was like a bass rod, but I was using it in saltwater. That's the only, and other time I bought like a nice trout Reddington for like $180. Rod, reel, line, and then I fished up in Roscoe at my buddy's house, caught a bunch of trout. It's actually the rod I still use today. Yeah, I think so. Because I don't do a ton of trout fishing, so much less likely chance I'll break it. To be fair, I don't break my fly rods by like closing them on doors, dropping them. I break my fly rods by either smacking them with a heavy weighted fly on a cast, because it's blowing like 20 miles an hour, the wind shifts, hits the rod, and then it breaks at a later date. Or the most common way is like I'm fishing, my rod is in my stripping basket in the cut sections, and I'm holding the leader, and this little 2-pound bluefish, not even a big fish, this little 2-pound bluefish takes off and like slips the leader out of my hand and goes zooming one way, and my rod ends up bending and breaking or something. I've had that happen at the boat multiple times too. But every other time it's like either I've been casting and it broke, and that's more than likely I hit the rod at some point, because I don't like put my rod on in between door jam or nothing like that. That's probably I hit the rod with a Clouser minnow, and it could have been a year ago, who knows, could have been a week ago. And then I'm casting, it's literally blowing 20, 30, sometimes 40 miles an hour, and that rod is just bent to the max when you're casting, double hauling with the wind and stuff, and that line's coming back, and as you're coming forward, that rod is just completely bent, and that's when it usually breaks. Something like that. I've had a couple rods break on big fish. I had one break on a big fish in a kayak. It was probably the biggest bass I've ever hooked. It was either I hooked a bass or I hooked I don't know what else, like a giant ray or a skate or something. I don't know. But I'm almost certain it was a bass. But that was like the only time I've ever broken a fly rod on like a giant fish. And it was like I didn't do anything wrong. I didn't high stick it. I just like went straight down, and I was holding the rod in the kayak standing up, and it just went and just the rod snapped. Because I was like going to set the hook on it, just apply pressure. One thing I've learned is if you do get into big fish, I find at least, they tend to pop off a lot. Because if you've ever held a striped bass, its lip, like a 20, 30, 40 pound striped bass, its lip is so thick. So a lot of times you'll like hook them a little bit, but you won't like fully hook them, and they're able to shake you off. So when I do get into a decent sized fish, I usually let it run a little bit, and once it's turned away, then I'll kind of jam the hook a couple times, but not like kind of wildly, just kind of either stripping it, or if they're like shooting off at an angle, I can kind of jam the rod this way like this while stripping the line, and just get that hook driven into its mouth a little bit more. Because a lot of times I fish barbless too, which technically should make it easier to get into a big striped bass lip, but it also makes it easier for them to shake you off as well. All right. Little chit-chatting today, but all right, that's my interpretation of your chartreuse with electric blue. What do you think? I actually kind of like it. I think it came out pretty good. I gotta get some better bucktail. I'm running low on the blue bucktail, but the colors aren't bad. It's either something like this or something like a bucktail deceiver / squimpish hollow style fly is like what I fish 90% of the time. So also Yumi, what's going on? How's it going? Posture check. Thank you. A little late on it, but also let me get a neck stretch. Oh, Gotta be careful. Sound like I snap a wooden board over my back when I crack my neck. A guy lives on the river. I fish, and he drives and found a really expensive fly rod and reel a few years ago. That's the nice thing about freshwater. You can find an old fly reel and it'll still be good, or a fly rod will still be good. Especially if it's only a week or two. My shit though is probably like rusted to the high heavens now. Think the line matters more than the rod? Yeah. Well, I think it's like there's a scale, right? There's a tipping point. Like it's like or what's it called? It's like a chart where the points intersect. Like a line that's not good enough and you're going to have issues, right? But a rod that doesn't have a strong enough backbone to it, then you're literally, it's almost worse, I think, than having a rod with a line that isn't strong enough. Because think about it, like if you've ever had it where the line's not, like you're smacking the water behind you, I guess you could probably still whip it out there, but I've used some really heavy lines on light rods just for fun before, and it's like you could almost break the rod casting it, it feels like. But I think you're right. I think the reason why the line matters more nowadays is because your average quality of saltwater fly rod, entry-level saltwater fly rod. Now, I haven't used like eBay or like no name like Chinese or Amazon. You know, that could be a fun thing. It's like try out an Amazon fly rod or something and see how, you know, put it to the test against a like name brand entry level one or something. But I haven't used any stuff like that. But I've used TFO over the years for the past like 20 something years. They're Lefty Kreh series fly rods, and what do you call it? But I bet you the average quality of fly rods is good enough now to where it's like, even if you get a cheap entry level fly rod, or even maybe a no name one or some random thing or something like that, it's probably got enough backbone to it. It's fast enough action that it'll be able to handle most modern fly lines and stuff like that. You know what I mean? So I think I agree with you in that way. But I did talk to Mark Sadati about this before. This would be a great video too, just a video topic, and like showing how using a fly rod that doesn't have fast action, trying to cast into the wind, and explaining how the rod works and all that, and also the line, and using a line that's underweight on a stiff action rod, showing how it's not loading the rod. That'd be something you go like, you know, down to a beach somewhere and film it like at a distance or something, so you could actually see everything. But there is a certain, I think it's like there's a point where if either one's not doing it, then you're having an issue. And a lot of times you could just solve it by changing the fly line, or because we've had a lot of folks over the years come in. I got a cheap rod off somewhere or something. It came with a line and a reel and a rod, and I can't cast. I can only cast like 20, 30 feet at most. I understand the basics, but I cannot get past it. And I feel like it could be my setup or something. It's almost always we say change the line, get yourself a high quality fly line from a name brand thing that matches what you're doing. And it's almost always, oh my God, now I got an extra 20, 30 feet, because whatever cheap ass fly line they have that came in their starter kit. That's why I was asking about these Redington or these other starter kits that you guys, or there's other ones. Like I think they even have TFO ones or something, how the fly lines are, because at that point, you know, it's almost not worth it to get a starter kit if the line's completely unusable. You know what I mean? And you can maybe use it, but after like a couple days, the thing's all freaking slack. It doesn't have any weight to the head. You know what I mean? It's like a generic line that's not made for the type of saltwater fishing that we do. You know. But I think nowadays the standard quality of fly rods is good enough to where probably the line matters more, but ever so slightly. I old fished that for stripers when I lived back on Long Island. I like it. Are you talking about the beginning sentence I can't decipher, but are you talking about the starter thing? Rods 92 for saltwater 9-foot 8-weight. Oh, okay. That's good. Can I send you a company for cheaper rods I bought? They're saltwater reel, and I love it so far. Yeah, we'll just put the name in there in the chat. No link or whatever, but put the name brand or whatever, and we could do some research. We'll take a look. Now look, I mean, I just all those rooster fish flies I tied was for Rise Fly Co. You know, I work with some fly rod companies, not officially, but I like fly tying wise. You know what I mean? So I like part of me is like I hope these really cheap Chinese fly rods aren't really good because it'd probably be bad for American companies that are also getting a lot of these cheaper rods from China. But part of me is like, I kind of want to check out. I want to check out some cheaper stuff. Now I will say, I guarantee you, any cheap ass fly reels, like if you get them off like Amazon or something, not 100%, but I bet you a lot of them will rust really bad, unless you rinse them like super crazy. But I bet you we'll see after like a year of fishing or something. But there are some really good ones too. I bet you there's some that have like decent manufacturing, and they also probably like I don't know if they're like anodizing or they're, you know, however they coat the metal or their finishes and their, you know, all the fit and finish of everything, the drags. Oh, the fly. This is the fly you used to fish Long Island. Gotcha, Dennis. Are you what's it called? Are you the tarpon guy in our Discord? What's your name on there? I forgot. I feel like your name was Dennis, but I forgot because you were watching on Twitch back then. Your username was different. I feel like that's you. I'm trying to remember your username though. I'll have to take a look. Max Catch Fishing. Let me take a look. It's definitely a generic ass name. Oh, is it on Amazon? Okay, they have a website. Let me take a look. Oh, hold on. I forgot the obligatory my Elgato doesn't work. You second Max Catch? Okay. That's 2 votes. That's 2 votes. All right, let's take a look. So I got all these different models, if you will. Premier, the Amigo, the Extreme. I don't know if there's different. They got fiberglass stuff. I mean, dude, $76 for a cheap fiberglass rod is pretty cool. Nothing wrong with that. They got some Switch spay rods. $92 for a Switch rod. Predator rods. Salt Pro. Let's take a look at this. $90. What's the weight? 7 weight? 10 weight? Doesn't look terrible. Oh, dude, it passed the small bluefish test. If it passes the small bluefish test, it can't be absolute dog shit. This is the... is that a... That actually might be a herring, but it kind of looks like a bluefish. But that's the number one thing I break fly rods on. Small bluefish. Oh, no, that's an Australian salmon. If you guys are wondering, this is an Australian salmon, by the way. Doesn't it look like a striped bass and a bluefish mixed together? But I'm almost certain that's an Australian salmon. Okay. Well, I mean, dude. I need a 9 weight. I have reels and lines. I just need a 9 weight. Maybe I'll check one out. I think they're on Amazon, too. So, we'll see. This could be a fun video. You know what I mean? Trying out a $100 fly rod or something. And you said they got reels, too? Let's take a look. What's their drag look like? Look, they got a big nut on there on the top. It's an interesting drag look. I mean, design. It says fully sealed. Or it just says fully saltwater safe. Oh, it does say sealed. So it is a sealed drag. Oh, they show you a whole diagram. That's pretty cool. So that's that nut right there. Spindle sleeve. Got O-ring. Collar. I'm just trying to see how it's kind of cool. You don't get to see inside of these things a lot of times. Okay, so you could take the knob off, it looks like. Screws. It also is good to know if you can take them apart yourself. You get parts and stuff. A 9 and 11 weight. That's an interesting... So they do both 9 and 11, up to 9 and 11. Doesn't show that here, though. That's 7-9. So 7-9 weight, 30 pound, 200 yards, so not a lot. But it's pretty large arbor. This one probably holds like, I would hope 300, but probably less than 300, looks like. What's this one? This one doesn't look that bad. Okay, here we go. Yeah, 10 weight, 325 yards, a 30 pound. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I don't know. The reel doesn't honestly look that bad. Here's the thing: a lot of these reels unless you're getting something made in the U.S., a lot of these things are made in China. So the thing with China is they can just copy stuff that they make for U.S. companies. Sucks, but at the same time, it's like U.S. companies get stuff from China and then are just charging you more money. So on the one hand, I'm not that opposed to getting if you're getting some cheaper stuff. I do like supporting like TFO, and TFO is $150 anyway for a rod, but this is cheaper. I want to see what other fly reels they have though. This looks nice. This is like a Hardy knockoff or something. What's the name of those salmon reels that everyone uses? That's the one you have. Which one? That first salt one? This looks nice. I love these old school designs. I kind of want something like this, dude, to be honest with you. I know it's not set up for saltwater, essentially, but this on like a 10.5 foot slow action rod. This is like a Kenny Abrams thing, almost, I want. Sprint. Gotcha. Now, these are interesting. I wonder, can you like, or these probably aren't saltwater or anything, but this would be interesting. Get like a $60 fly reel. It's carbon fiber spool. Okay, interesting. Cool. They also got lines. I'm not look. I don't know about the lines though, eh? Something tells me. Oh, they even got outbounds. That's the thing about China, dude. They don't have any issues with copyright. I can tell you that much. Even though it's not saying it's an outbound short, it's funny they're using outbound. This is Max Catch Fishing is the name of the company, Ben. We've had a couple people on the channel recommend, and we're just taking a look. Normally, I'd get like a TFO, and I'd get like a cheap Lamson, and get myself like a Cabela's fly line, for instance. But I bet you for trout, look, they got like, look, this is a $15 saltwater line. There's no way this is good, right? Okay, I feel like I have to get this now for a video. A $15 salt line. It's got a 39-foot head. Wait, what? Okay, that is okay. There's no way these are decent, right? Goes up to a 10. I'm gonna have to try these. So what do they have for? Do they have intermediates? Now, if this cracks, I have no problem with it. Right? It's like $20. Oh, they do have outbound shorts. I spoke too soon. What is it? Just like a full sink head? What is this? Yeah, this is just like a... Oh, this is like a Skagit type line, I guess, if you will, or like a interesting. So let's see. Do they have? Oh, they have intermediate. Do they have like a salt intermediate? Full sinking fly line. Is this just straight up sink? Looks like it. Oh, it does have a running line. (6" per second. I wonder what the weight on it is. I don't know. This line kind of looks fucking. What is that? Is that water? Oh, it's water. It's like, why does that look like that? Okay. Hmm. It doesn't say like a weight for it. Doesn't have a grain weight. All right. I'm 100% getting some fly lines for a video. This would make a great video. I'm not going to lie. What's wind cutter? Delicate precision in windy conditions. Oh, we don't want that. Big nasty. Yeah, the big nasty, bro. These might be absolute dog shit. We'll have to see. Okay, so these are like a big fly line. This is probably like a musky type line almost. Gold, salmon steel, bonefish, avid salt. That's just a float, right? I think. Yeah. So I guess we'll take a look at the intermediate. Single hand spay, switch lines. They had running lines too, I think. Eco fly line. What's this? What is that? What is eco fly line? Match weighted forward fly line. I was just curious, maybe they're using like their recycling shit or something, but no, it doesn't look like it. It's China. What am I talking about? Intermediate. Let's check out the intermediate line. So they have clear, but only up to an 8 weight. Oh, they don't even have. This is interesting. They don't even have loops. They don't even have loops. Do all the lines? No, some of them do. Okay. I mean, 100%. I'm 100% getting this line, and we're going to try it out. A $15 salt line. And maybe one of the sink lines or something we'll try out. Or something. Sinking tip. I have an 8 weight with 6" FPS. Or 6" per second. Okay. Interesting. Cool. Well, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't have a 9-foot rod. I'm very interested in getting one of the saltwater rods. If you guys have one, let me know which one to check out. I do want to check out one. I don't want to spend $200 on one of these. I'd probably just rather get a Lefty Cray. So I want to check something out under $100, which it looks like the one, not Predator, the Salt Pro. It says Pro Salt. It's got to be good. But this is more so like I'm curious. These like cheaper Chinese rods, is it actually something that's plausible? Now this, I'm going to be honest with you, this sort of stuff's probably going to be like, well, you could probably go trout fishing with these. I don't know if I would, though, seriously get one for saltwater, but Bear's Den has a great deal on saltwater fly packages. They have white American Rooster saddle hackle. Well, well, well. I've never actually perused the website. It's popped up on Google searches, but I've never perused. I see the one American Rooster. But do they have... They do. Is this the right one? The American Rooster saddle. I think it's the right one. Alright, I might need to get one of these later then, for old time's sake. That has to be it, right? No, it's the American Rooster cape, not saddle. They do have it in white. Okay. This is the one I use for deceivers. This one, by the way. Akuma SLV rod and reel is legit on a budget. Okay. Akuma SLV. All right. Yeah, this is the one right here, which I've not been able to get for the past 2-3 years in white. I have a grizzly one, and I have a black one. But they do have it. It's 51, apparently. Please, chat, don't buy them all, all right? Save me one. I'm going to buy one later when the stream's done. I've not been able to find these for a while, so I will definitely grab one. Thank you for letting me know, and I'll have the max catch fishing thing too up. I'm going to check this out. All right, it'll make some good YouTube videos. Try these out. You know, let me take a look. You'll sell me yours? Akuma. Okay, so they make a 10 weight. 120, probably like 100 something bucks. Okay. That's not bad. I mean, that's a little bit cheaper than the TFOs. You know, I'm not opposed to paying 140, 150, 160 bucks for a TFO Lefty Cray. It's been my favorite rod. Used it forever. It was designed by the master, so you can't complain with the Lefty Cray's design, right? But this is a good price. This is a good price for a more well-known brand. I wouldn't say Akuma is well known in the fly fishing world, but if it's I would probably have more faith in something like this than a random no-name Chinese thing too, right? It's well built. Okay, that's good to know. That's good to know. Still too pricey though, $110. It's too pricey for us. We're gonna have to go to the Salt Pro, 90 bucks. Anyways, this is going to make a good video. You know what I mean? It would be cool to get like a TFO and a Akuma, get Chinese brands and stuff, put them all together, but that would literally be like a $600 video, and I can't do that. So, because I'll tell you, I'll make $5 on ad revenue. So no. But this is a good excuse for me to get a 9 weight, like a 9 or 10 weight 9-foot rod to fish for the summer. If it breaks, it breaks. We make a video out of it. It's a tax write-off. You know, whatever. We could try it out. Put it to the test. See how it casts some heavy lines. We'll try and fight some bluefish. See if it explodes while I fight a cocktail bluefish. The classic. That's the real test. I see an Australian salmon. They tried to trick me with the bluefish. It wasn't. It was a salmon from Australia. Okay, the real test. You want a 1.5 pound bluefish, and you're landing it next to the boat. That's the real test with a fly rod. I've seen TNTs explode. I've seen Orvises. I've seen TFOs. Custom rods break. It's those little bluefish you got to watch out for when you're trying to land them. They are on methamphetamines, so they're jacked up. All right. We're going to tie a shrimp fly after this because Tony asked for it. And what do you call it? We're just chilling tonight, kind of hanging out. It's good to get back to regular fly tying after just tying the same ballyhoo fly and the same kinky mother over and over again. That being said, though, I am ready to finish some of these flies I have on my bench here and put those up on Angler's Marketplace and just get them out, get them done with. So I hate having flies half done and then they go in a box somewhere. I'd rather just finish them and just have the fly done and finished. That being said, though, we're going to take a quick little break. And we're going to tie a little... I think the idea is we're going to tie a shrimp fly to accompany the flatwing. You fish the flatwing, and then in front on a dropper about 2 feet, 3 feet in front of it, on a dropper loop or something, we're going to throw a shrimp in front of it, and then we can swing it with the switch rod is the idea. Actually, I wouldn't mind. I'm curious. There's one rod that they don't make anymore, and I love. It's the Kenny Abrams Samo Saxatilis. I want to find a rod that is essentially like almost like a fiberglass feeling rod, but with graphite or whatever. It's 10.5 foot, but not with a giant spay handle. I wouldn't be opposed, but the main thing is it needs to be a softer action 10.5 foot rod that feels pretty light, because the Samo Saxatilis has that very distinct feel to it. It's a much slower action rod, and you can really like feel. You have such a good like direct line to the fly line as you're mending. You can like kind of feel when a bass grabs it and stuff. It's great. It's almost like, think of like a trout nymph rod for striped bass is a way to describe it, or like a trout salmon rod. You know. Yeah, Ben. So Kenny Abrams, who I'm talking about right now, the Samo Saxatilis, he introduced to me. I use droppers on. I use droppers in spin setup. Use a diamond jig, put a fly in front of it. It's how I've caught some of my biggest bass on spinning rods over the years, or in front of plugs. Like put a Mickelson epoxy bait fish in front of a Gibbs popper. But when it comes to fly fishing, especially with a Samo Saxatilis or a switch rod and a floating line, what you do is you take a flat wing. So you start off with like in the back you have a larger flat wing. In front of it you have a raised fly. In front of that you have a shrimp fly. And you can either use a dropper loop or you can use a double surgeon's knot to connect the two materials and use the tag end of the double surgeon's knot on one side to tie. That's what Kenny Abrams talks about. He mentions he used the double surgeon's knot method because it's about good up to 20 pounds of bass. The issue is, if you're catching 20-pound bass, you don't want to catch two at the same time anyway. So you're not going to fish a dropper if there's 20-pound bass. But he mentioned that dropper loop setup, or the double surgeon's knot into dropper off the tag end, is good for about up to 20 pounds. So if you get like 2-pound stripers or 10-pound stripers or something, you probably be in dangerous territory. But most of the time, this is like we're swinning flies like you would for salmon with a floating line, but we're doing it for straight bass. So we're either casting 45-degree down current or directly across the current, mending using a floating line, and these flat wings and these shrimp flies or these squimpish hollows, whatever it may be. I have a video on how to swing for straight bass. And you can mix some retrieves in there. You can tighten, you can slacken, you can do whatever. But you're essentially fishing, you're letting this bait fish, the raised fly and the shrimp, just kind of naturally drift with the current. And the fish will sit along edges, they'll cruise along edges, they'll sit along mussel beds, they'll hunt along the mussel beds, and that's where they see these baits like kind of drifting with the tide, not like, getting caught with the lines being caught and it's flying at 1,000,000 miles an hour. So I highly recommend, you can't get the book nowadays. You can check out the video we made on how to swing flies for striped bass. We're going to go more in depth in the future, but if you can get Striper Moon by Kenny Abrams, completely changed my mentality with how I look at fly tying. He's the one who popularized flat wings, if not invented it. But his whole book, Striper Moon, talks about how to fish for striped bass like they're salmon, which I did not know was possible. And that's like how I fish, like, I'd say probably 40% or 30% of the time now, where I'm doing like a hybrid of like swinging flies and stripping them. I'm not just casting and instantly stripping after letting it sink. A lot of times I'll like mend it, let it swing a little bit, strip it, and then keep working the line, doing different things, instead of just fishing cast and strip sort of stuff. Yeah, Saltwater Edge in Rhode Island had one of the lightweight ones. I had the heaviest weight one, which was like almost like a salmon-sized fly rod for striped bass and salmon, but he had he had 3 models. There was 1, 2, and 3 or something. I forget. The lowest one was like almost like a trout rod, but you could use it for stripers. The next one was like in between that, and then the last one was it was almost like a surf swinging fly rod, if you will, or something that you could use it for salmon or striped bass. Imagine but like decent sized fish. And I used that rod for years until it broke. Unfortunately, broke on a fish too. I don't remember what. I don't remember. But if you go on our YouTube page, when we catch, in one of the videos we catch on the kayak, I mean, the closest thing to a 20-pound bluefish I've ever seen. I don't know what it was, but I've weighed 15-pound bluefish that were smaller than that, much smaller. This thing was massive. I bet you it was at least 18 pounds. Okay, and that's conservative. That's not like me wanting to be like, oh, it was 20 pounds, but it's massive. That was on that, the heaviest weight Kenny Abrams Samosaxatilis, which why I was fishing for gigantic bluefish with that, I don't know, but that rod survived a lot of abuse I put it up to over the years. So shout out to the Samosaxatilis rods. Yo, what's going on, Spoxy? How's it going? How you doing? All right, we're going to take a quick little break here. I'm going to grab a drink and just stretch my back real quick. We've been streaming for like an hour and a half already. When I get back, we're going to tie a shrimp fly, and we're just going to free ball it. Maybe we'll try and even do something like general practitioner-ish mixed with a more traditional style striper shrimp, if you will. You know what I mean? So, hey, Paul, what's going on, dude? I hope you're doing well. And appreciate everyone hanging out. So we're going to keep on tying here in just a little bit. I'm just going to go use the restroom, and I'll be back in just a moment, chat. Play our alley highlight. Where is it? There we go. Oh, my audio's on here, too. I got to mute this, right? I forgot about that. Yeah, dude. Yeah, dude. Stay tight, all right? Yeah, keep it tight. Yeah, dude. Yeah, he did. Knuckle buster. Are you good? Do you need me to do anything?
Yeah, I might need a ride. Yes.
Okay. Hold on, I'm gonna turn now.
I'm gonna try and get on the bow.
Yeah, get on the bow. All right, you're doing good. Keep doing your thing. I'm gonna move us away.
Is that a little one?
No, that's a nice one.
Is it? Oh, let's go!
Come here, hold next to your alley. Good job.
That's sick.
All right. Nice.
Let's go! Woo! Albie slap!
Good job, dude.
Yee!
Looking down the barrel of a 12 gauge little toonie, bro. On the alligator too. my god, dude! What the fuck? Woohoo! Oh my god. Yep. Oh my god! I gotta turn the boat so I can cast. That's weird. It muted it all together. So, oh, I normally mute myself. That's what it is. I guess technically my audio is always on for the Albie video. Weird. Okay. I thought it was a setting on my OBS. I hope everything's going good, Spoxy. What do you call it? I say that to myself. At least I'm alive a couple times a week, but I hope everything gets better. The Akuma I have is a 9-foot 10 weight. The size of a 5 weight, very strange, but fell in love with it. Casts like a bomb, pretty sensitive. Not in 10.5, but definitely worth adding to the collection. Okay, interesting. I'll have to take a look. Thank you for letting me know I was muted too, by the way. I forgot that I must just mute my mixer when I go up there is probably what I do when I do the Albie stuff. All right, let's tie a shrimp fly. And God, it's so hot in here. It'll be nice. Shut the lights off when I'm done streaming. Cool down. I'm gonna go sit outside later. All right, so we tied on a 2-aught. I think I want to either go 1-aught or smaller for a shrimp. Now, normally, look, I've done a lot of seine netting. We don't really have big shrimp around. But I feel like if you're fishing a shrimp fly that's too small, it's not even going to get seen half the time. So I feel like with a shrimp fly, it's almost like a shrimp attractor, I want to say. From netting spearing, I have seen once or twice, I've seen like a full-size shrimp. Not like a cocktail, but one this big for these grass shrimp. A lot of times they're small, though. They're almost like invisible. That being said, though, I was kind of looking for my 1-aughts. I think, is this them? So I haven't figured out how I'm going to do this, but I need to organize hooks. I still don't know how I'm going to do it. Oh, damn, dude. I'm sorry to hear that. Well, luckily, well, not luckily, but if that's the case, then at least you don't need to deal with that person anymore. That is somewhat cliche, though, yep. Going forward, going on to the gym, eating better, talking to the, you're getting a motorcycle license and focusing on yourself. I approve of all those except for the motorcycle license. And half my friends all ride motorcycles. But I remember Jeremy Clarkson scared the shit out of me in a Top Gear episode. And I was like, okay, I'm never, and to be fair, I tried riding. My buddy had like a big Japanese, like Yamaha or something, but it was like almost looked like a Harley or something type deal. almost like the cafe racer type bikes. The thing was like 500 pounds. I tried to sit on it and it almost crushed me. I'm like, you're riding this thing around like the way you are, dude? You're crazy. So if you do ride a motorcycle, wear a helmet and be safe, because it's not you, unfortunately. It's going to be some chick, you know, not looking at her phone. So just make sure you're not riding your bike through like dangerous areas is all I'm saying. Get your motorcycle license, enjoy it. I'm too much of a pussy to do it. Half my friends do it. But still be safe, because it's the amount of people that just drive around looking at their phone nowadays is mind-blowing. It's one of the reasons why I don't even go out half the time unless I have to. I don't go out and do anything anywhere. I'm a little bit of a recluse. Who would have thought? You making YouTube videos and streaming. Are the stripers in? Oh yeah. In Maine where I am, there's sand eels. They're on sand eels, no mackerels. But yeah, no, we got bass. We had bass here for quite a bit. I haven't caught a single striped bass yet this year. How cool is that? I fished like the entire month of April, nothing. It's heated up though since then, but I was busy tying flies for rooster fish orders. So some of my friends in boats and fishing out closer to the inlets are doing really good. I mostly fish in the back bays this time of year when I'm busy, and it's just the back bays are already kind of getting algae blooms and all sorts of stuff. So the fishing hasn't been that good for me, but there's some decent fishing to be had. I will say the lack of juvenile fish is very alarming. I think striped bass stocks are really down, but there's a healthy portion of like 30-inch to 40-inch fish. So there is good fishing to be had. Whether there's going to be good fishing to be had in 5 years from now, I'm somewhat doubtful. But yeah, there's some pretty good. We're going to start going fishing here now that I'm finally caught up. I got to make some videos, but I really got to pump out some fly tying videos here. So I'll probably do a couple fly tying videos, and I'm going to start working on some bigger videos for fishing. And like how to fish, you know, or a summertime striper fishing video explaining summertime tactics or something, you know. Oh, we're doing a shrimp. What the hell am I doing? I was just in automatic flatwing mode. This is why I should put the hackle away. Okay, we're going to redo it. How are we going to do this? I do want to take a look at a general practitioner and kind of do like a mix. I kind of want to do a more natural shrimp fly is what I'm saying. I don't want to coat it in epoxy and all this stuff. Let's take a look. I do like the general practitioner. I haven't tied one in a while. Maybe we'll kind of mix some techniques together. Yeah, for sure. No, get your motorcycle license. Have fun. Just be safe. That's all I'm saying. My buddy's he doesn't give two shits, but I try and tell him. What's going on, Bobzilla? How's it going? Also, Trippin', how's it going? Welcome from Norway. What are you fishing for up there? Are you a pike and perch sort of dude, or tire or fisher? Or are you fishing for salmon and trout and all that? Are you doing it all? Is that from people keeping undersized fish? There's definitely poaching that happens, but it's from a million different things. It's from really bad spawning. They haven't had a good spawn in years. That is a mix of environmental issues from water temperatures, habitat loss, pollution, all that jazz, but also, just really a mix of that different stuff. But also like the lack of bunker in certain areas, the impact on bunker fishing from like the Omega Corporation and all these boats coming from Jersey and Maryland and places fishing. But it's a million different things. Striped bass in general are having a hard time. People are mishandling fish, killing them that way. There's commercial fishing, which not all commercial fishing is bad, but there is some commercial fishing that's very bad, like gill netting. They should just catch a certain amount of fish and be done. Instead, they continue fishing throughout the year, trying to fill quotas here and there. There's getting bycatch. They're killing fish that they don't need and throwing them back. There's party boats and charter boats that wireline. They catch 40, 50-pound striped bass regularly, and they get to keep a lot of fish. And they do not stop the boat reeling the fish in. Half those fish are probably dead by the time they chuck them back after 30 photos. You have, of course, increasing water temperatures leading to stuff like my back bays that I used to catch fish year-round aren't doing as good because the higher water temperatures combined with the water pollution from top-fed fertilizer on people's lawns and sewage leaking into the bay causes algae blooms. The algae blooms cause a lack of oxygen and cause rotting green algae and thriving red algae, which causes rashes. Let's see, what else do we got? There's probably where stripers spawn, their habitat, like the Hudson, the Chesapeake, and different rivers. They're having all sorts of issues. There's just a million different things. So just take all those, like 40 different things that's going on all together and combine them, and that's why striped bass are struggling. But particularly their lack of spawning, or good spawning, has been a big issue. So if you don't, here's the thing, like 10 years ago, whatever it was, we had a really good spawn. The striper fishing was healthy enough, and all these fish have grown up to be 30 to 40 inches, 36, whatever it is, 20, 30-pound fish. So we got a good amount of those. The problem is there's no smaller ones, so we're not going to have 30-inch fish in 5 years from now is the issue. There are some, but overall, fishing stock-wise, you know what I mean? And we got a couple Norwegians. We got some folks from Denmark, from Sweden, from that area of the world. You guys got some cool fishing over there. Doing well. Local fly guy gave me 6 to 7 blonde hackle feathers because you won't buy one of these anytime soon. Oh, yeah? Yeah. Tell these guys that are buying $400 hackle patches to wrap it around a little dry fly that I don't think the trout gives a shit if you're using a beat-up. It's just whether you have a skinny hackle or not. You know what I mean? Is it skinny enough for the fly you're using? Then, okay, you're good. Of course, there's quality difference, but I love the idea of these guys. Like, there are people that sell these flat wing patches for striper fishing and stuff for like hundreds of dollars. I tell people, go to Ewing, get these Ewing half saddle patches, or go to Hairline, get the $40 full pastel patches. Meanwhile, people are paying $80, $100, $120, $140 for hackle patches. I don't see the point, but they do it in the saltwater thing too. Luckily, a lot of saltwater guys aren't going to pay that much. But yep. Well, if you're tying your Royal Coachman, it's got to be a thing. Yep. Well, that's definitely an old school thing for sure. Yeah. That's cool. He's giving you stuff. Yeah. That's definitely an old school mentality. I think a lot of the newer generation of fly fishing and fly tyers have realized that just because you're spending more money doesn't mean it's better. Luckily. You know what I mean? I mean, that's not a bad price at all, Craggerroll. That's not a bad price at all. I've seen some stuff at, like, fly shows and stuff where they're, people have asked me, like, hey, is it worth getting a $100 fly patch from that person? I'm like, no, probably not. I mean, it's up to you. Do you want to spend do you want to buy a $40 bucktail tie hot, like the ultra premium one? You can. You totally can. It's going to be great. But you can also get away with like a $15 one from Brad Buzzy or something, like the medium range one. That'll work just fine. Or even you might get lucky with a cheap one, right? Half patches, yeah. When I say half patch, they cut a saddle patch in half. So this is half of one. This isn't a whole patch. So they cut it down the middle like that. So, and this, by the way, this is still way too expensive. But this is from my local shop, which charges so much money for everything. This was an emergency. It's probably cheaper online. But I recommend the Hairline Pastel patches. They're really good. You can get them on saltwaterflies.com or JS Fly Fishing or whatever. All right. Let's tie this general practitioner, and I gotta wrap up the stream at some point. It's so hot in here, dude. I'm dying. So let's tie a shrimp fly because we haven't even started it. General practitioner fly. Kind of blend old and new. I don't have any golden pheasant tippet or anything, but we're just gonna play it by ear. So a little bit of boot tail off the back, probably crystal, some sort of hackle for some eyes or something, and then we got some like pheasant patches that sit on top of some spun hackle that's trimmed more or like laid down. So I'm trying to think what I have that I could use for something like this. What's going on, Newfie Chris? Oh yeah, well I'm not gonna tie it to the standards of a salmon guy, but we're gonna just have some fun and take some inspiration from it. This is definitely one of my favorite shrimp flies, and I've used it for stripers. It's pretty good. I tend to fish more with like an ultra shrimp sort of stuff, or like, but I base a lot of my shrimp flies off of these sort of like salmon flies, because I just tie random stuff. I don't have like a defined shrimp pattern that I really do when I'm tying something like this. Tying up some found links for an order. Is that sounds articulated, but I'm not familiar with the pattern. All right, so we got some crystal flash. We're gonna go for like tannish and grayish color. I'm not super particular. We can even probably use a little bit of the backside of a bucktail here for some of our maybe thin bucktail off the back. The least I need to go digging into crates for material, the better. So I'm just gonna use the back of a bucktail here. And again, the shrimps really aren't even that big, the ones that I've seen personally around here. Most of the ones you see aren't even the size of this hook. But every once in a while you see some bigger ones. But again, this is more of like we're almost tying more of a searching pattern, or like a shrimp attractor or something, I don't know. It's the length I want. We're gonna have the crystal flash be a little bit longer probably. But I do want this to be a little back. We're just going to play it by ear. I'm not going to try and match the general practitioner perfectly either. You like golden pheasant for a dropper rig? Or I like GP? Is that what you meant? Golden pheasant or? Oh, general practitioners. My bad. Yeah. You tie a lot of them? You hate them? Yeah, well, I'm sure if you're tying them to, like, a salmon fly, you know, they expect a certain thing. Luckily, I'm tying this for myself, and it does not matter. It's a Kelly Gallup pattern. It's a dry fly. Oh, okay, gotcha. It sounded like an articulated pattern. And it's a Kelly Gallup fly? So I was... if you would have told me it was a Kelly Gallup fly, just a name, I would have been like, that's got to be an articulated fly. And it was originally called the Nipple Twister 5000, but he had to change it. Sounds pretty tame for a Gallup fly, right? Am I mistaken? Isn't Kelly Gallup the one with the sex dungeons and the two in the pink, one in the stinks and stuff? We made up a couple dumbass names like that for a YouTube video. There's the Nipple Twister 5000 dry fly, and then there was the two in the pink, one in the stink nymph. There was what else? Some dumbass shit. Let's go with a nice lawn crystal. I'm not even gonna trim it either. Just leave it nice and long. Okay, and again, I'm not following the exact way. I'm just tying what I think my interpretation of this general practitioner is at this point. Now, do I have any pheasant adjacent hackle? I don't know. Now I do have. Okay, this is what we're using. I'm not even gonna think about it. I have jungle cock. We're going to use those feathers. Now, unfortunately, I don't have any cool feathers for the eyes. And if you were thinking I had actual jungle cock to use for the eyes, you're wrong. I'm going to use the jungle cock for the general practitioner kind of pheasant style thing. So what can I use for eyes? Again, I don't... Maybe we could do something like this. A little poor man's, we can use some guinea fowl feather. I used to take this stuff and I used to strip it and then, hit it with, what do you call it? Yeah, I could use eyes with the mono. I don't really feel like, I generally don't do that a lot of times for my own flies for shrimp. I don't even think the fish see it 90% of the time. It's more so for us. I used to make like faux jungle cock eyes out of different bird feathers. I forgot. I think it was mostly guinea fowl stuff. The Suppository by Brita. The Suppository. Wait, are we talking about water filters, or is that a fly, or? I want to add a little bit more bucktail here. We don't really have that much. Let's go. I'm gonna go. I don't know if I want white. Also, I think I'm giving myself a little cushion for this feather by doing this. A little bit bucktail there. This thing does not want to cooperate. It also was sitting in the bin all screwed up. But there we go. I gotta take this out of my list. Remove, because I don't use the lyric versions. There we go. It's a fly. Britta is the tire. Oh, I'm familiar with her. I've been following her for a while. Yeah. But yeah, okay, there you go. Suppository. See? You gotta just make sure you read the market when it comes to flies and fly names. Does it look like the fly names are kind of raunchy and sexualized this year? Okay. The Nipple Twister 5000 it is. Usually you put some dubbing under that guinea feather to prop it up. Gotcha. I went for some really stiff back of the bucktail. Almost deer belly type material. You know why? I don't follow the rules. I wish I had like in my mind there was like some cool, like, I said that and then I hit the who. Yeah, dun, dun, dun. Like but I didn't have that as a button. In my head, there was like a cool rock riff at the end of that, and it was like a bit. But I just panicked. I hit the laugh track. But that's where you need like the cool. Oh yeah, rules are meant to be broken. Hold on, wait. I gotta. Rules are meant to be broken. Yeah. Dun, dun, dun. Switch. All right. What are we doing again? We need some hackle. We're spinning, what color are we using? It's kind of like a grayish, tannish color. That's what we're gonna use. Do I have that on hand, or do I need to go searching? I have marabou. Marabou's too long. Oh, we got some hackle here. We could just use some beat up tan hackle. What you gotta do is you gotta tell the old guy at the fly shop, it's the beat up ones in your fly box. This has been sitting in the bin for years. It ages like a fine wine, and that's when it starts really, you start palmering it really. You can't get that without 15-year-old hackle that's been sitting haphazardly in a bin. It just doesn't palmer the same. I'm gonna have to charge you more for that one. A little bit of bucktail at this point. We'll slap a little on there. Looks like Irish style stimulator pattern. That suppository fly. It's probably where the inspiration came from. She's a great fly tire. I've been following her on for years. What do you call it? She does like a lot of like fly patterns that are like realistic style flies, I guess you could describe it. Like if you could call Kenny Abrams flies impressionistic, she does like some more like you'll see like realistic style fly patterns, I guess you could say. More modern stuff. Good flies though. A lot of great fly tires out there nowadays. We're gonna palmer some hackle. Do I want it longer than this? So do you trim the top on the general practitioner? I think you do, right? I wouldn't mind something just like ever slightly longer or wider. Let's use this one. This one looks really shitty. It's perfect. The shittier the better. Yes. I only use shitty hackle on my general practitioners. Now I should probably, I don't know where it is or what, but I should probably like use wire like they do, but whatever. If I get something on there, it'll be cool. My local shop had to have it for 30 years and said I'm not raising that price. Someone will appreciate it. Okay, there you go. I picked up a sample pack from Whiting for $40. I emailed Whiting. They said it hadn't been updated in over 25 years. Okay, gotcha. Interesting. You mean like they haven't done that in 25 years? You're like, hey, I got this sample pack of your guys' hackle. Can I get some more or something? They're like, we haven't made that in 25 years. Is that what you're saying happened? I also probably shouldn't palmer this too close together. It's close enough. And then we do a hackle right about here, right? Somewhere around here. It's good enough. Good enough for government flies. I can't remember last time I've seen a whiting sample pack. I remember they used to have the ones where it'd have like random hackle. It had like a bugger, had bugger hackle, it had this, it had that. Unless I'm thinking of something different. I do remember hearing of sample packs though from Whiting, but or seeing them. Never got one though or something. You stack feathers tapered up the shank over the hackle. Yeah, okay. I just couldn't tell if they trimmed the hackle or not before they on the top here like this. But I'm just gonna lay it over. Something like this. God, it is so hot in here right now. If you could see the back of my shirt. Holy, it is so hot right now. I'm 100% need. I have to get an AC. I've been putting it off too long. Okay, Palmer now here. Yeah, luckily, I don't know what salmon are like. Maybe salmon, like, you have to use pretty flies. Luckily with straight bass, they don't care, so it doesn't need to be perfect. That'd be so funny, though, if, like, you go to salmon fish and the salmon are in the water. Like, ugh, my God, look at this ghastly fly. They're all, like, proper and, like, English and, like, picky. The striped bass are just, like, slurping up the flies. I'm sure it's the same thing with salmon. You can use ugly flies. You just got to put them in the right spot or they won't eat it. Same thing with striped bass. Took me a while to learn that, though, by the way. But once I learned that, that was a big relief. Because I thought, you know, man, it's the fly, it's the fly. Nope, it turns out I'm probably not putting the fly in the right spot half the time. Hookah Lounge is hotboxed. AC, I told you, AC got a job working on a tuna boat. He is currently in the Caribbean. He left like 3-4 months ago, and he's going to be living on this tuna boat, fishing offshore for yellowfin, big eye, every sort of tuna, and marlin for the next 2 years. He's getting paid to work on a tuna boat and live on the boat and travel around the Caribbean fishing. So that's what he's doing right now. I don't know if you remember a while back. I don't know if you were watching, but we tied a bunch of bonefish flies and permit flies. That was for him, which he did catch some fish on them. He sent me a photo at some point, but I'll have to ask for more. Presentation is the biggest battle. And I bet you that's the same for salmon, stripers, marlin, bonefish, trout. It's all that, right? In Discord, if you want to check real quick, it's crazy for $40. We'll take a look here at the end. Once we finish this, we're going to take a look at the Discord. Now, I think I want to palmer some hackle in front, but it's a very small amount because I feel like that'll just finish it up. Those jungle cock flies, these back ones are fantastic for soft hackle flies. I use them as well as as like cheeks on flies. They work really good for a cheek on a fly, and you can also then put a eye, like a tab eye over it, or a jungle cock eye over the cheek. So that's kind of what I like using them for. I'm gonna have to buy another patch at some point. It's just ridiculous. So now this is what I'm left with, which I'm sure you could use these for something, but they're quite small, and I just half the time I don't put eyes on stuff anyway. So you only speak on trout and Atlantic salmon. Gotcha. Well, hey, you got Atlantic salmon. I mean, that's all you really need. Trout are one thing. I love trout too, but trout, you know, you can go a lot of places and catch trout, but not many places you can go and actually catch Atlantic salmon. You know what I mean? I would love one day to go catch some giant gasp river, or even just really, I would love to just go catch some salmon, swinning some flies, and get that checked off one day. I'll do it. We've caught some steelhead. I haven't caught them swinning, but I'm gonna switch it up to gray. Give me gray hackle for the front. I gotta vacuum after the stream, as usual. Well, I actually have to continue organizing my materials tonight, so that's gonna take me probably like another hour. There's a lot of stuff that's just kind of like a couple feathers here floating around. I'm just gonna take all the feathers, put them in a bag, the loose. Take all the flash that's loose, put it in a bag. Take all the stuff that's loose, put it in a bag. I might just give it to somebody or something. Because it's like, there's definitely stuff you can use. It's just like, I hate throwing stuff out. I also might just hang on to it, but if somebody locally is like, you know, whatever, I'm like, here you go. Come take this or something. Some kid or somebody. I just hate throwing stuff out, you know, because you can still use it. It's just like, I'm going to use these random 6 purple feathers, or when I have like hundreds of other in packaging, you know. But I feel bad throwing out stuff for sure. As we know, fly tying material does cost some money. That, or we do like a giveaway where you get a bunch of random junk from me. Who wants my fly tying trash? Bunch of random like old flashes and hackle and junk. Okay, this hackle is not polymering very nicely, but I'm forcing it anyway. Oh god, dude, if I had to tie all those rooster fish flies with it being this hot, I don't think, oh man, I would have broken. I would have been a broken man by the time I got done with all that stuff. Like, we had a little bump in temperature recently. It's started heating up. Because I've been, like, it's still to the point you got to wear a sweater at night if you're sitting in the backyard, you know? But I think we're starting to get to the point where you could probably sleep outside in a t-shirt and shorts coming up soon. So it's going to get to be that temperature that time of year. Yeah, see, that just finished it off. That little bit of gray on the front, that just finished it off for sure. Now, Ron just bought a pro-grade midge barred dark ginger whiting saddle hackle today, 190 CAD. Ugh. Now, look, I'll buy a $50 whiting American Rooster. But, you know, and that's the thing. That's not like some gold standard level. But that's the thing. Their standard level hackle is so good anyway, you know. I will say, though, it's like, it's a whole different ball game for freshwater and trout compared to a saltwater. You know what I mean? There's a whole different mentality, or like tradition in the fly tying too. That's one of the reasons why I gravitated towards saltwater, was because it just was like there were no rules essentially. Freshwater, it seemed like there was a strict kind of like tradition in the fly tying. Especially now, it's gotten much more, you know, open-minded or whatever, and experimental with freshwater. But back in the day, it was very regimental and kind of like, these are the flies, these are the patterns, and it's when this bug, you use this. Saltwater, it was like, well, what if we take the material and tie it backwards and fold it? You know what I mean? American Rooster has killer schloppen. Yeah, at the back of the American Rooster patch, not the saddle, but the patch or whatever, the cape, there is really thick feathers, which are close to schloppen. They're not schloppen. They're like the highest quality grade type of schloppen you can. Well, they're thinner than schloppen, But you're right. There are some like really thick feathers generally at the end that work really good for tying really big deceivers. If you want to tie like 6-odd, like but still a deceiver fly with the traditional hackle to hackle, it's really good hackle for that. Fantastic. We tied the 4-odd and the 6-odd HD deceivers for saltwater flies, and that was using the really big hackle at the end of the whiting patch. Good thing you remembered. I almost forgot. I got to order. Even though I'm not necessarily even using it at the moment, it'd be nice to have one of those patches for myself because I haven't been able to buy one in 2 years. So I don't think I'm going to be able to buy enough to tie permanently with that from now on like I used to. But it's definitely, I think, what do you call it? I should have one. It's been so long since I've had one. They use those here for dirty bombers. Well, I know the bomber. Interesting. I'll take on that one, huh? I tied a big Sadati feather slammer with the Rooster saddle. Nice. Yeah, that's the thing. You can't get schlopping that's that big anymore. I talked to Mark about it. You used to be able in the 90s to find, and 2000s, early 2000s, to find giant schlopping hackle. I'm talking about like 7-8 inch slop, or like, 6-inch massive wide schlopping hackle that was fantastic for tying on a mono or wire extension to make a 14-inch bunker fly like Mark used. But I don't know what happened, if the demand went down or the genetics went down or the birds died and they just don't have the same ones, but they do not have the same quality schlopping nowadays. It's almost not worth buying schlopping hackle. You're better looking for like a hackle patch that ends up having that part of the chicken on it, having decent stuff. Spun deer hair body, calf tail wing, yep, and tail. Calf tail, wing, and tail, and then palmer, the schlopping down the body. Gotcha. Yeah, the bomber I know was what, just like a spun deer hair body with like a hackle palmered on the front or something like that, or palmered up the way, and it was like a skating fly they would skate for on the Pacific coast, right? I think for like steelhead and salmon. Isn't it a Pacific fly, the bomber? Or isn't it? It's not an Atlantic creation, right? I think it's a Pacific thing, but I could be wrong. I don't know enough about that stuff. Anyways, here's our little shrimp fly. What do you guys think? This is my take on a little general practitioner. Yeah, strun schlappen is useless nowadays. If you're tying a tiny fly, like a micro grocery deceiver, maybe. Oh, it is an Atlantic salmon fly. Okay, I'm wrong then. I'm wrong. I guess it's just really popular out there. Okay, I'm wrong. I actually have a Jock Scott book. I should do some research on my salmon stuff. I just know I guess a lot of steelhead guys like that fly as well, or the Pacific salmon guys as well. Yeah, I think this will work just fine. Now you got to realize, like, does an ultra shrimp look a lot more like a shrimp? Yes, it does. But when I'm fishing, I generally think you could probably catch just as many bass on a shrimp fly that's like this than just like a epoxy style shrimp fly. It's more so about putting it in the right spot, you know what I mean? So, is Jock Scott still alive? I have one of his books from quite a while ago, and I thought he's been salmon fishing for a long time. I'm surprised. Oh, you know Jack? Okay, got it. Yeah. Well, I figured it's probably an author's name or whatever. I don't know the guy's name, but the book I have, it's really old, and I didn't know if he was like English or Scottish or from the or from Canada or what. I didn't do enough. I don't know if I didn't read the whole book, but I read some of it. I bought the book because it was a recommendation by Kenny Abrams. He said that like Jock Scott's books and some other salmon guys really motivate or taught, like, is where he learned a lot of his salmon stuff and applied it to saltwater, and that's how he came to the the way he fishes for striped bass with swinging flies and all that, and vice versa. You know what I mean? East Coast Canada. Okay, gotcha. Yeah, I didn't know. I just assumed like it was like it looked like an old book, and I was like, this must be some like old Scottish guy or something, because that's one thing I do love. I love the history of like salmon fishing in Ireland, in Scotland, and things like that, and learning about the history of like the old salmon fisheries where they have like ledgers and you know, back in the day, it showed this guy caught like a 90-pound Atlantic salmon or something. Like, they were catching crazy fish. You got to check out Paul Yun, Fishing with Paul Yun. There were some cool episodes where he went to like this old lodge somewhere in Scotland, or this like, it was right on the river, but it was like just this like, you know, it's very simple. It had like a pub and stuff, but they had like the or it had a bar in there or whatever, and it had like the ledger book, and it had photos, and it went all the way back into like the early 1900s, or even maybe even earlier. I don't remember, but like so long ago, and it had the recorded weight of salmon that people were catching, and it was like just massive fish. I don't know if it was 90, but it was like crazy shit, you know, whatever the giant salmon that aren't around nowadays or whatever. But yeah, really cool. Who's that? Is Jock Scott or Paul Yun? Man, if you meet Paul Yun, God bless. Tell him LI Flies Mike says hello, okay? I want to get I think I think you can get it on DVD. Fishing Scotland with Paul Yun, or Fishing with Paul Yun, or whatever. That was my all-time favorite TV show, fishing TV show, and I only found out about it on YouTube years and years later. Jock, okay, very cool. I never, you know, it was like a Irish, or I mean, it was like a Scottish, UK sort of thing or whatever, and so I don't know if they showed it here in the US, but I saw it on YouTube, and they had I don't know if it was on BBC channel on YouTube, or it was like a Fishing with Paul Yun official channel or whatever, and they had all the episodes on there, and it's all gone. There's like a couple episodes up there, but I'm talking about they had saltwater episodes where he went fishing, where they take these long ocean voyages where they go to these islands out off the coast of California. It's like a huge, deep offshore trip, and they're catching like giant tuna and like jacks and stuff. Really cool. It was the same sort of stuff, Craggerroll. You were looking for those blue jacks and whatever. That was the same sort of fishing. But I don't think you can find those videos anymore unless it's like maybe on like the BBC or some sort of website online, or you can buy it. So I'll have to make a YouTube video talking about that fishing series, because more people need to know about it. The coolest fly fishing show I've ever seen. And he would do regular fishing, or fishing like, you know, where they do that fishing that they do for salmon and steelhead, where they like drift bobbers down rivers and stuff. They do pin line, or the pin, whatever that stuff. They do that in England for like bream or whatever. So he would do that, but he was really into fly fishing. So he would do a lot of trout and salmon, but also pike and things like that. But one of the coolest things. Yeah, YouTube has them, but they don't have all of them. Like at some point they had almost like all of the seasons, like every episode in the certain seasons. And there's a lot of them that aren't on there right now. So the new fly fisher is one of the reasons why I mentioned the Gasp and catching giant Atlantic salmon. Because he did some episodes where he goes to the Gasp River, and I don't know, is that up in Quebec or something? Or wherever it is. And yeah, Centerpin is what I was talking about. So New Fly Fisher's got some cool shows. There's also that one young kid that like fly fishes for like, or he's younger. He's probably older than me, but he was younger than all the other guys. And he was like fly fishing for like lake trout and stuff. You guys know who I'm talking about? I don't know the name of the channel. He might be up in Canada too, or somewhere up in like northern US. There's a younger guy with like blonde hair, like bass boat style, but fly fishing all the time, catching like giant lake trout and like walleye and stuff. I don't know if he was only fly fishing, but he had a lot of fly fishing stuff on it. One of the guides I had in Chile works a lodge on the Gasp. That's apparently like, you want to catch the giant, you know what I mean, stuff, that's where you go. Fishing TV website has them, but you need to pay, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, gotcha. I'll have to do some research. I want to see where the Paul Young stuff is available, because I definitely want to make a YouTube video on that show. Just talking about it, you know what I mean? It's such a good show, dude. I probably won't be able to monetize or whatever, because I'll have to like show clips and stuff, but... Not ringing a bell? Yeah, there's one younger guy. Let me take a look. Maybe we can find it. And it was like a fishing show. It was like an actual fishing show, I think. It seemed like, at least. Fly fishing lake trout. It might pop up. We'll see. Yep, so there's the new fly fisher. Some younger kid. No. What is that guy? He had like an actual fishing show, I feel like. But I don't know if it was just fly fishing. Anyways. There was some younger guy. Maybe my age. Maybe he's probably older than me because I think he was like my age when he had the show or something. But a dozen. I don't remember anymore. Anyway, new fly fisher's great. Gasp is good, but there's cheaper and easier. Yeah. I'm sure that's like it's like going fishing in Montauk. You know what I mean? It's like the mecca of striper fishing, but there's other places you can go. Great fall run striper fishing. A lot of rivers in Labrador hold massive salmon and brook trout. Cape Breton also, and of course in Newfoundland. Yeah. For sure. That's just the one that I'm sure is, well known. I'm sure also where people probably have to spend more as well, like you said. All right, let's take a look at the Discord here. See what you guys have been up to fly-wise. Yeah, Gasp is the famous. There's a website called STV Player, has them all, it seems, but it's pay-per-view. Okay, cool. Thank you, Doc. Doing a little research for me. All right, let's see what we got. Oh, I wanted to share. This is on my Mike Rolls Dice stream. One of my viewers on there, Cosmic, I guess this was someone else. Oh, no, he posted it. But Damned Legion, I guess their father or grandfather was a fly tyer. And he didn't know anything about it, so he showed it to us. But I thought it was cool to take a look at an old... you can see this old Perrine fly box with the metal, and you can see how old it is because look, it's all corroded and stuff, the aluminum, as well as the Hamilton Anglers Club membership certificate. So I'm thinking this might be, I think he might have been from the UK or something, but and I think he tied them himself or something, but it's his grandpa's old fly box, so I thought that was cool. Take a look at. You can see the still chaos, but I'm getting it organized a little bit. And here we go. The whiting introductory pack. Yeah, that looks about 30 to 40 years old. For sure. For sure. Is that schloppen or... Dude, imagine it's like 30 years old. You might actually have real schloppen in there. It's got all sorts of stuff. Very cool. No, it wasn't schloppen. What was it? Maybe. That kind of looks like almost like Schlappenhackle. Cool. Nice. Yeah, I remember seeing stuff like that back in the day. Ah, you grab it? Yeah. Let me know. Sheesh. Let me see. We're missing something. This is what Zeke, my buddy Zeke, he's heading down to Bahamas to go catch bonefish with Henry Cowan. That being said, what do you call it? We're going to go fishing with him when he gets back. So I'm excited. All right. Last stream, we definitely saw these. We saw Yumis here. I don't think we saw Muranos. No. This is where we left off. Oh, look at that. It's very interesting, little squiggly. Is that... It looks like some sort of synthetic or something. And, maybe like Col de Canard, perhaps? Very nice. Murano, I want to say, is Sweden. I think Murano's in Sweden, if I'm not wrong. Could be wrong. I don't think it's Denmark. No, I don't think so. The blue is streamer. Gotcha. Moose main body. Ah, moose hair. Ah, interesting. You're saying this is moose? Oh, this is moose hair. That's why it's so. It's like it's a super stiff, almost like elk. Gotcha. I've never used moose. Never had moose. Also, that looks really light for moose, but it might be dyed, right, or bleached. Calvin's. These look great, dude. These look fantastic. I love it. You know, I'm gonna have to do some of these like bigger. There's a fly. I'm gonna have to do more easy body stuff. Oh, the body wrap. Cow moose. Ah, interesting. Yeah, I'm thinking of bulls. The bulls are usually like pretty dark color. The cows are lighter like that, more brownish. Interesting. Yeah, these look fantastic. I always get worried with something like this though. You need like a super heavy hook for it, right? These almost look like the Mustad C70 SAPs. I don't know if this will be heavy enough for this, but it might be. You gotta let me know. I love this fly. This looks sick. I would just maybe go with like a little bit of a heavier hook. But it probably swims fine. But just in case. Beautiful. Beautiful. Like a Sadati slammer. Very nice. This is a sick fly. You did a great job with this one. And you just need like 3 more inches. Oh, you did the wire too. Hell yeah. This is the right way to do it. This is how you tie slammers. That's how you do it right there. A little bit. See, I'm still struggling too. Is like Mark, when you see how Mark ties them with the wig hairs, there's probably like half the material on here. So I'm still trying to master it myself. This is where I usually end up. This is almost better than what I do. But I'm trying to work on the slammers, the synthetic slammers, because I have some here. I'll show you guys. We're going to do some more videos on those in the future. This is like the old school Sadati slammers, back when he used slop and hackle and with the tandem hook. And this, I love this too. This is my favorite. I tied a fly like this, and so people are like, "That's not a Sadati slammer." What do you call it? Because I think they were thinking of how he ties them in synthetic, but this is the old school stuff. Because I have my book from the Innovative Saltwater Flies. He was using googly eyes and the schlappen like this, and tying a lot of bucktail on there too. Really big ass hooks, not fly hooks, just big ass hooks, like bait hooks almost. Yeah, and these look nice too. It's like mushmouths. Looks like mushmouths or something. Type variations. The moose mane can be that light. I have some really interesting. I guess it makes sense. It's not like they have black hair. They're like a super dark brown, I feel like. But I guess it depends on the time of year, right? And I guess maybe there's a variation in genetics. I've seen, I used to do a lot of traditional bow hunting. I still have my traditional bows. I just haven't hunted in years. But hunting deer here on Long Island. But I used to watch videos, a lot of guys that would do the river trips with bows, recurves, longbows. And they would go hunt moose, and a lot of times they would shoot a big bull. The thing would go and die in like the middle of a bog, and they would have to like butcher the moose into pieces just to get it out of the water onto land, because you can't move a moose even in the water like that. It was too big. So I watched these guys, they like hunt, they shot it, and they were like, what are we going to do now? They had to like spend a day like cutting it apart and wait. I think they got a helicopter to come fly it out or something like that. But that's some crazy stuff. Those moose, like Alaskan moose trips and stuff. Very nice. Never had moose. Is it gamier than deer, or is it fattier? Is it leaner? I don't think I've never seen one in person because I here in New York. Maybe I've seen one in a zoo or something. But that is a ridiculously large animal. I mean, you can hit it with a car, you can total your car, and the fucking moose might walk away or something. Like that's, I mean, you'll probably break its leg or something, but you're not gonna kill it probably. It's a ridiculously large animal. It's almost a meme how big it is. They are more gamey. I mean, it makes sense. The other thing is like when animals get that larger, I don't know how long they live. Also, if they have long lifespans. But like for instance, like an old buck is going to be way gamier than a young doe, for instance. A lot of times. Moose your favorite? Yeah, I'll have to try it sometime. Yeah, you ever seen somebody get the kicked out of them by moose? Like somewhere up in a city in Canada or something, and some person's like walking right next to a moose. They're like, oh yeah, whatever. They just walk past, or they're trying to film it, and then the moose just goes to town on them. Yeah, that's that's gotta be. I'm talking about doe for deer. When I say doe, when I was talking about when you eat a buck, I'm talking about whitetail. So if you eat an old whitetail here, I don't know what 7-year old or whatever, big buck or something, they're gonna taste a hell of a lot worse than the the what do you call it, the yunner, even like a yun buck or whatever. But if it's brown, it's down when it comes to our deers because there are no natural predators anymore, and due to what do you call it, the lack of habitation because people want more Starbuckses on every corner, and they keep building new and new houses for rich people to come move out here and just come for the summer. There's like they what do you call it? The deer end up either starving during the winter or they dying from diseases and stuff. So New York State's like, look, you get one buck tag. You got to follow the law when it comes to antler point sizes. If it's a doe, and it's above, if it's a certain age, you can shoot. In fact, we'll give you 3, 4, 5 tags. If you fill all those tags out, you can come buy more tags for like $5 a piece. You could just keep shooting does the whole season if you want, because they have to pay, or they choose to pay like sharpshooters during the winter and come shoot deer, and then they just like throw the bodies somewhere or something. They don't even like use it for like homeless or something. I think they might, but I'm pretty certain I think they just like get rid of the meat. But because there's just too many deer on Long Island, so they just let us hunt. And our hunting season's from September. No, it's from October. Is it the middle of October or is it the end of September? I don't remember anymore. It's been a while. But no, it's good. Well, you know what? It's good. They do rely on the hunters here on Long Island. They say, look, you can shoot a lot of does because we need you to, because the deer are going to end up starving during the winter and dying because there's not enough food for them. So like we need to control the population. That's how conservation works. So they do. It's good for hunting and stuff. Because there's no bears, there's no wolves. We're starting. We had a couple coyotes cross the river or swim across, but there's no natural predators. There's only cars, and that's it. And then hunters like us during hunting season. But I think it's like October till like the end of January, like January 31st. So I think we have like a 5-month hunting season for whitetail or something. It's like one of the longest hunting seasons, I think. That's available for like whitetail or something. I think there's a couple seasons that are longer, like Maryland maybe or somewhere I forgot. Yeah, well, too much concrete. Cut down. There's grass. They'll eat the grass and stuff, but there's not enough wild stuff for them. There's pesticides everywhere and concrete and oil and leaking everywhere, and yeah, it's terrible. But that's the way it is. So what are you gonna do? Look, we've talked about it. I'll mention one more time, dude. The fact that green grass lawns and spraying pesticides to kill bugs, putting fertilizer on your grass so you have a green grass. That whole idea to me that you would cut down the local native plants to bring an invasive green grass to where you have to waste a ton of fresh, potable drinking water, and you have to pollute the ground just to have green grass. That whole thing, whoever brought that stuff here, we found it was the lords and kings from England. That's where that whole tradition started. That completely destroyed the United States. 100%. Like, think about how much devastation that has caused to the just natural ecosystem of the different biomes that we have here in the U.S. It's all just been destroyed for giant green grass lawns filled with pesticides and fertilizer. And that we use a ton of drinking water just to water the grass. Isn't that crazy? Anyways, that's going to be my end of stream thing. Think about that. If you do have a green grass lawn, don't put fertilizer on the top. There are better options too. Instead of stuff like Scott's Lawn Care, look up Milorganite. That's my buddy. That's what he uses. It's a much better option. Either way, that's my how the fuck did we get here to finish the stream? Green grass, bro. I can't, you can't even smoke it. It's not even the good grass. You know what I mean? Bullshit. No fertilizer here for me. I'm on a well, not treated water. Gotcha. Yeah, it's just I don't know. It's ridiculous. The landscapers come twice a week. There's like 30 lawnmowers. Then there's like a what do they call those guys that kill bugs and like rats or whatever? Pest control. They spray the like pesticides everywhere. You know what I mean? You'll know because my windows will be open. I'll start smelling the pesticides. I'll be like, if I could close this shit. And they got the signs you can't walk your dogs and your kids can't play for like 2-3 days. And then it rains the next day and it all goes into the drain and goes out into the bay and anyway. So I don't know. There's no plants that flower and there's nothing for the hummingbirds and the butterflies. We have all that shit in my backyard. We plant native flowering plants. We have native bushes that we get the local wildlife refuge that we've worked with in the past that I donate flies to every year. Every year they do this initiative where they give out seeds and they have seedlings of native plants, and that's what a lot of what we have here. And I don't even have a lawn. I have a vegetable garden, and I have random native plants like kind of spread throughout the backyard and the front yard. But we don't have like a yard or grass. We have some random like moss and grass just naturally growing, but we don't like have any grass. It's like either dirt or moss or just plants that we've grown. So. But that's my yard. But it's cool. We get hummingbirds. Everyone else, they have green grass pools and they spray pesticides and crap. My backyard, I get freaking raccoons, opossums. We get hummingbirds. We get all the cool animals come to my backyard because I have flowers and it's all native stuff too. So they love it. You know what I mean? All the birds come and hang out in my backyard. They love it. We got like 20 squirrels chilling because we don't rake the leaves at certain times of the year. Or like in the backyard, there's acorns everywhere. So the squirrels get acorns for the winter. They're like, none of the other yards have this crap. You know what I mean? So we have like 20 squirrels chilling in my backyard in the winter. And they're like digging holes, planting acorns. You know what I mean? All the other houses, they've cut down all the trees for green grass, essentially. You know what I mean? But not all of them, but that's the majority, you know? And every year it's less and less trees. They cut down more and more, you know. Some fertilizers they put on the field here gives off radiation. They have to put up hazardous radiation signs. What the hell? What the hell kind of fertilizer are they using, bro? What are they getting cow shit from like near some sort of like is this like Ukrainian cow shit from near Chernobyl or something? That's crazy. I wonder what. Certain fertilizers, specifically potassium and phosphate-based ones, give off low levels of gamma rays. They occur naturally. The raw materials mined for these agricultural products contain naturally occurring radioactive materials like uranium-238, thorium-232, and the radioactive potassium isotope, potassium 40 Kelvin or 40 or whatever. Jeez. I bet you our fertilizer is also radioactive. It's just they don't have to tell you it by law, so your kids can go play in it. You know what I mean? But anyways, that's the difference. But thank you so much, chat. Hopefully you guys enjoyed my green grass rant at the end of stream. Don't forget, down with the big grass corporations, down with Scott's Lawn Care, and down with the clankers. Round of applause. Round of applause. That's how we're gonna finish it off tonight. Thank you so much, chat, for hanging out. Appreciate everyone tuning in. We had Brew with the 77 months. I don't even know what that is in years. It's too high for me to count. I don't think I can actually count that high in months. I'm just gonna say it's probably 15 years. Thank you so much, man. I appreciate it. Even though that's longer than I've been streaming, but it probably checks out. Lean, thanks for handing out. Appreciate it. You like the rant? Well, listen, you've been watching long enough. You know we get rants here. You would have unsubscribed by now or unfollowed. But thank you. Appreciate it. Frosty. Oh, that was from 7 days ago. Well, yo, what's up, Frosty? Who else did I miss? Oh, Craggerroll with the 4 years. God damn, bro. God damn. Well, thank you so much for hanging out, chat. Neves, everyone watching on YouTube, thank you so much for hanging out. I hope you folks have an awesome night. We had Dennis, Old Smuggler, Neves, Jim, appreciate it. I hope you folks have an awesome night, as well as Ray. Thank you for stopping by, and Newfie Chris and everyone. You folks have an awesome weekend, and what do you call it? if you're going fishing, good luck. Catch some fish. I'm going to try and get out there and do some fishing soon, but keep your eyes out. We're going to start getting the fly tying channel and pumping out some videos again. So probably this weekend I'm going to work on it, all right? I'm going to start filming. So, but anyways, take it easy. Yeah, you take it easy, boss. You guys have an awesome week, and we'll see you on Friday. There will definitely be a new fly tying or fly fishing video or something before next stream. So we'll see you guys then, all right? But chat, you take it easy. And what do you call it? I'll peruse those Chinese fly rods. I'll keep that in mind. We'll figure something out eventually. But all right, chat. You have an awesome